Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, enemies and friends, welcome to the show that never ends. You are tuned into On the Real, where we keep you up to date on the latest in the world of TV and movies. Joining me today, as usual, is my brother from another mother, Mr. TK Kirkland Asante.
If it isn't the slanderer himself, how you doing today, sir?
I'm
doing great, man.
I'm glad to hear it.
That's
glad to hear.
Right.
And
stop
then,
slandering. Let's not.
I can't promise you that. And then
continue.
My brother from the same mother, Mr. Johnson. How are you, sir?
Who's muted currently? Unmute yourself, sir.
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Yeah, you grew up in the Bronx and you wearing a Red Sox hat.
Hey.
Tell them to sell the hat in my size.
It's not an excuse, but all right.
Yeah, I wear size 8, bro. Even like dad hats don't fit me, bro. My hat is big as shit.
Lots of brains in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I have other Yankees jokes, but we'll leave it there. Okay. So we missed last week, but I hope this week's show will make up for it. And we have some great topics for you, which will be why Suicide Squad bombed at the box office.
Did it though?
Yes, it did, but we will come to that later. We will be talking about Marvel's What If and whether it was a hit or not. And we will be talking about the broader implications that we didn't tell you about before with the Scarlett Johansson v. Disney case, because I think it's a very interesting thing to keep our eyes on. But before we do that, I want to talk about what we have been watching that is not Suicide Squad or Marvel's What If. So who wants to start?
Me.
Please,
The Lox
go ahead.
versus Dipset. Shit. Everybody's still talking about that. That's still happens out here.
It counts. Go ahead.
But we expected it to end any other way, but the way it ended, I'm surprised people are surprised.
I actually have receipts that I called it that it wasn't even gonna be close, that it was gonna be a slaughter. Because people younger than us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dipset raised them. People who was like maybe 5 years younger than us.
They don't remember that we made what we was listening to was music, and what they're listening to is just talking.
The whole swag of like when dudes was rocking all this oversized clothes and the bandanas and the belt buckles that lit up with their names across it, all that corny tacky shit. You know, the big skull belt buckles with rhinestones and all that corny shit, tacky shit. Dipset made that popular, so the youth followed Dipset. But when it comes to bars in New York, that shit matters.
That's right.
That shit still matters. No matter what these young dudes is doing.
Are you blaming Dipset for all the funny style stuff we have today? Are you drawing a line between
Are you saying they
the
caused
Bird
this?
Gang and what we have today in name one of the rappers? I don't know their names anymore because I'm old.
I mean, that whole thing of like when they were popular, what they did was they started rapping over down south beats and they kind of dumbed it down. It wasn't about lyrics anymore, so they kind of, shifted it. They helped, kill it.
I remember having debates in college, on college campus in 2001, because I was probably 2 years older than everybody.
That Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity.
I took a year off before I went to college because my son was born or whatever after high school. So I was like a year, and I was already a year older than everybody, but I was 2 years older than everybody in college, and everybody in college was talking about how Dipset were just better than the Lox, and I never understood this. 20 years ago, I knew that it wasn't even a competition, but now we had the competition to prove it. So I feel vindicated. And what Gerald Mack is saying here, Dipset definitely were pioneers of all the funny stuff we see with pink clothes and all the. I'm not against like wearing pink. I think you can wear pink, but all that other like I don't know, the tight jeans and all this other the tight ripped jeans. I feel like that was all them.
I don't think that was them. You got to give Kanye and Lil Wayne credit for that.
Yeah, they walked the path that was already set for them.
Like
before
them, it was like big, shiny rhinestone belt buckles and wallet chains and
Funny style
digital,
shit.
yeah,
Funny shit.
tacky shit.
Okay.
Funny
All right,
stuff.
but now let's talk about the show itself. Tell me, just give us the breakdown.
It was a slaughter from the beginning. Like the Lox came there prepared. They were surgeons with it. Like they worked with their DJ. You could tell that they practiced. They came there with the TV records where it's just they're like it only plays the hook and it's mixed for them to perform it live. Dipset was just performing over the record. It didn't sound good. And plus, when they had their music mixed back then, it's just they didn't mix it well. It was just like you could put out anything. But now it's like high def, Dolby sound or whatever. It's just the Lox have lossless sound, so they're
trying to show the
sounded
youngins
better
how it's really done.
off the rip. All of the Lox knew each other's lyrics. You could tell that they've been performing together for years. Dipset, it was just like when they came on stage, they was dapping each other up like they ain't seen each other in a while. Like they didn't take this seriously. Cam brought out a beach chair like this was going to be a walk in the park. The Lox didn't take it such a way. They took it seriously, and that's why they won. Not to mention the fact that their music is better.
Good point.
I want to give a shout out to Tat Wizza. If you don't know who he is, look him up. You should know who he is. But he says the Lox, he's agreeing with you, LeVar. The Lox is an actual group. Dipset is a collective. Lox were students of hip hop. The Lox perform together. Dipset doesn't. So
that's right.
I think that that's the thing. Like this is not like if you're talking about a battle, like you shouldn't even. I wouldn't even put them together, right? Like that's not. I don't know that you could put the Lox versus Wu-Tang because there's so many people, but at least there's rappers there versus rappers.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And another thing is you can take okay, you have to put Jada versus Cam, but you could put Sheek versus anybody on Dipset that was there, and Sheek will win every time.
It'd be a slaughter. That's right.
You could put Styles P against anybody on Dipset that's not Cam, and he will win every time. So like it's to me the fight was fixed. I mean Jada was saying it, but I'm also from Yonkers and the Bronx, but
let me be the one that brings out the hot takes this time around. Okay. I heard this situation and I thought, why the hell are they even Dipset's gonna make fools of themselves? Like why? I didn't understand why this was even a debate. Why this was even a potential of who's gonna like? This is like basically telling them that Black Thought is going against anybody. Like get out of here. What's wrong with you people? This was not something they should have signed
Black
up for.
Thought going against the baby.
Yes, against anybody. Like there's just no reason for it. I don't know why the hell they did that. What they thought that they were just good because they're good and that the Lox did not create who they are. If it wasn't for the Lox, there'd be no Dipset. I'm sorry.
And a lot of people thought Dipset was going to win. A lot of people thought Dipset was going to win.
That's ridiculous.
Because
there's a lot of stupid young people out there.
That's the younger generation. Because, like I said, Dipset raised them, and they thought Swag was going to win it. When you seen Styles P going back and forth with Jim Jones, he's like, because Jim Jones was just there like, yo, you ain't got the drip like me. You ain't got whatever. He's like, what you trying to do? Outfit battle me? That shit that my nieces do. You up there using Cardi B slang, talk about up in the stuck, man. He's just like, what kind of corny shit is that? Jim Jones had somebody come out there and put a chain on him, and then the Lox was just there like, that shit is corny. No. He's like, what are you doing?
So what Tat just said there, they make some big records. Big records have not always equated skills. And this is a game of skill, right?
Nothing.
Yes,
Cameron
they have big records, but
nothing Cameron or Dipset had ever is bigger than the Benjamins.
That's right.
Yeah. Or Reservoir Dogs or nothing. They tried to call out Sheek, and then the Lox is just like, because they practice with their DJs, it's like, if they say this, we're going to do this. If they play this, we're going to play that. Like, because they said, Sheek don't have no records, they let Sheek just go and do like 4 or 5 songs where they all had verses, but they just let Sheek do his verse on it. So they let everybody shine. You know, even though Jada was clearly the Beyonce or the Michael Jackson of the group, they all shine.
I like the Beyonce. Good job. Keep that one up. I
No,
like imagining Jada
but,
Kiss as the Beyonce of the Locks. That's great.
Ballin' was probably the biggest thing to come out of Dipset, I think. Not like I don't think like street credibility wise. I think Come Home With Me was like but as far as big like mainstream crossover hit, Ballin' was probably bigger than anything Dipset did, and maybe even bigger. Was it bigger than the Benjamins? I don't know. That's Benjamins is crazy, but Tat can actually tell us this. He works in the industry.
None of them songs is bigger than the Benjamins. The Locks, like Dave Jadakiss said, the Locks have Grammys. All them niggas Dipset know about is grams. That's it.
All right. Okay. So now what the good yeah, that's what I was referring. When you said We Fly High, I was referring to Ballin' because I think everybody thinks of it as Ballin'.
But that's right.
But
it's parentheses.
What I think is good. I think we need to see more of this, and I love to see that Versus just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like I
don't know how they top that one.
Biggest Versus. And Tat says no, it wasn't bigger than Benjamin's. But the thing is, I think the good thing that comes out of this is they're going to tour together, and we are going to see State Property, Dipset, and the Locks go on a tour, and
price just went up.
Yeah, that
good to see Jadakiss getting his flowers. Hopefully Dipset learns how to perform from the Locks. Just saying. Hot tip.
We'll see how that works.
They need to rehearse, man.
They need to rehearse. That's right.
Mr. K. Asante, what have you been watching?
We talking about practice?
Into the main topics here.
So two things I've been watching today. Both are very hilarious, but hey, I had a good time with either of them. So I didn't watch anything for my. Well, okay, that's not necessarily true. For movie night, and for those who aren't aware, like you do your movie night, so do I. This week, my daughter got to choose, and she chose Vivo. Have you heard of Vivo?
Yes, the kids actually watched this one this weekend without me because I was running errands on the way home.
So it's basically a Lin-Manuel Miranda joint, and that comes with its Lin-Manuel Miranda-ness, but it also comes with pretty good hip hop, as he does his infusion of hip hop and Asian and Latin elements, and it's fun for the kids. Music was great. Had a pretty good message. You know how they go. You know, was
that a Disney thing or a
no?
Netflix
This is a
thing?
Netflix doing Disney thing, and it kind of works. It kind of worked. I thought it was quite interesting. My kid loved it. They were all into it, and the music kept us interested. My wife and I, and it was cool. Second thing I watched, and I would recommend.
One second. So Tat says watch Gangs of London.
Yes,
I've been on that. Just tell me when season 2 comes out.
It is amazing.
If you are, I think that's Gareth Edwards, the director of the Raid films. And if you don't know what the Raid is, shame on you.
Shame on you indeed. Yes. The Raid and the Raid 2. Go seek it out immediately.
Season 1 of what do you call it is amazing. Gangs of London is amazing. And I'm just waiting for season 2 to drop. But I think it got held up by COVID, but it did get renewed for season 2, and it is coming if it's not out yet. But I haven't heard that it's out. But sorry, I apologize. Continue.
One other film I watched that I would recommend you don't watch unless you want to watch something that's so bad that it's funny as hell. Like it is so bad.
Marvel's What If? No, I'm joking.
It is so bad. And like 5 minutes in, I'm like, yo, I got to stop watching this. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, why the hell did I just finish watching this? It's so bad. Imagine if you saw an 80s or 90s movie, you know, with all the tropes, the superhero, the karate masters movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Fast 9.
No, you're not.
No.
Stop.
Okay. All right.
Any stereotypical 90s, you know, he has the power. You know, they're the tigers, then they're fighting and they study and they're really powerful. And then eventually the movie ended and they got old. And then they started this movie called The Paper Tigers. And if you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's number 9 or 6 in the States on Netflix right now. It is hilariously bad, like hilariously bad. They were the greatest before, and now they're old, and they're having to come out and fight, and they take some serious stuff into it as well. But it's just hilarious. It's so bad. It's so bad that I just had to watch it. And I want you guys to watch it, but I will feel not bad at all if you guys say, nah, bro, I saw the trailer and said no. It is terrible.
I'm gonna.
You watch
It's
F9?
terrible. Huh?
I didn't watch
F9?
F9 yet. It's on my list.
I've seen F9. Yes,
I've seen F9. I watched
So have
it
I.
just to have something else to talk about.
It was my
Fucking thing
plan.
sucks.
It
Huh?
was my
Don't
plan
say
to
that.
watch
Come on,
it this
stop it.
week,
Shit is terrible.
but I chose
Stop
to
it.
watch. I chose to watch What If instead.
Stop
But
I
do plan
actually
on-
suspect you. I suspect you made a good choice there, watching that.
that's
What If?
debatable.
It's good.
That's
It
debatable.
was great.
Okay.
Oh,
All right,
hold on,
so-
hold on.
We're
He keep
coming to that.
dropping
We're
hints.
not
Are
talking
you
on
telling
F9,
me?
Asante? What's your
What's
thoughts
that?
on F9?
No. We will talk about that. I want to do a deep dive
F9's a
on
different beast,
F9
bro.
next week. I
F9's a
apologize
different
for
beast.
Not watching
Yeah.
it
Come
this
on, that's
week, but
old
we got-
already, bro.
But we got through. It
No,
been
it's
You gotta
not.
get with the times.
It been
No, it's not.
okay,
I've
so-
watched the
That
F9.
shit been out for like a month already.
Okay,
Yes,
so
it's old.
what I have been watching is a lot of anime. I have been getting up to date with Demon Slayer because and then because I haven't finished the first season and I actually want to watch Mugen Train, but I'm waiting till that's done. And then the Legendary Tale of Arslan, that's another one. In the anime world, and there is a movie on Netflix called The Vault that has the one of the Nine Fingers from Game of Thrones,
Mhm.
and the kid that plays Norman Bates in Bates Motel.
Okay.
Very interesting
So
movie. It's
decent
made in
actors.
Spain.
Okay.
But it's an English movie. It's a heist movie. They're trying to steal some Spanish gold from a ship that sank, but it's in the Bank of Spain, so it's very highly It's very interesting. If you're into heist movies, it's very well paced. It's kind of an Ocean's 11 style thing. I recommend checking it out. That said, it is time to get to why we came here. And that is Suicide Squad. So I want to. So the title is, I'm not burying the lead, right? What happened to Suicide Squad at the box office? But before we get to what happened to it at the box office, I want to hear what everybody thought about it. So, Mr. K. Asante, can you give us your review on the best DCEU film? It has taken the place of Man of Steel.
I will agree with you that it's the best DCEU film.
I'm not. That doesn't include The Dark Knight.
Unlike you,
go ahead.
I think that's a very low bar.
Easy. Man of Steel is top.
I will agree with you.
Movie.
And I didn't think Man of Steel was that great.
Watch
me
him
personally.
Big trash.
Me personally.
I will fight you.
Hot
for that,
trash.
But
needless. No. I don't think it's trash. I actually liked it, but I didn't think it was like the greatest thing on earth or anything. But needless to say, I would say
hot garbage.
Suicide Squad is a far better film than the last one was. The last one and I actually watched the last one before I watched the latest one. The last one was a music video that was slapped together. There was no continuity and all of that. This one at least
Rick Ross was better than that movie with Joker and Rick Ross. Better than that
how do you think David Ayer feels? Because they cut up his movie to make
they never gave him a chance to show the real work.
They didn't do the Ayer cut, and then they just give it to
Snyder.
No, they gave that to Snyder, but they also and then they kind of trying to ruin his career, right? Because what has he done since Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Because he got blamed for that train wreck. If anything,
even though it wasn't his train wreck to get blamed for,
let it be his vision so he could take the blame for it if it sucks.
Right? And then to make things worse, they said James Gunn, do literally whatever you want, and then you watch every minute that you watch of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, you just think about how trash David Ayer's Suicide Squad was, and that's kind of effed up because his movie was more grounded. It didn't have all that dancing lights in the sky shit at the end.
And what I will tell you
about that is
beat for beat, once you watch the old one and you watch this one, yeah, the old one sucks. But that's because of the way it was put together. From the acting perspective, from the actual, from what they were trying to do, it's literally a remake of the same movie of the last one. Yeah, different things happen, but like it's the same black protagonist who's really good at shooting
Clearly
things.
that part was written for Will Smith, but they couldn't get him.
I get that. But I mean, beat for beat in the movie itself, they also have the same thing.
They make a joke out of that.
Halfway throughout the movie, they're all sitting at a bar drinking. Like halfway throughout the movie, they were doing it in the last. Like it's very beat for beat. Like it's almost your Star Wars remake. It's almost that.
Wow.
But it's better.
Episode 7.
Yes, but it's better.
Okay.
It is better than the original because there is continuity. That even when Bloodsport goes for what's her face's neck, I'm like, isn't that the same thing Will did? But okay. So with all that said. I do love Idris Elba in this role. I think he did a great job. I'm biased. I'm an Idris Elba stan.
Do you think he did a better job than Will Smith in that role? Because it's the same role. They might as well have just said
it's the same role. And I'm not. To me, there is no better than. Idris has his gifts and he brings them here, and so does Will, and he brings them to his role. They're two different characters.
You know what's the difference in the characters? A better script.
Exactly. The acting was on par on both counts, and they're both charismatic and they're both dynamic in their own way. But Idris had more to work with, whereas it was all charisma with Will Smith because most of the lines were kind of.
Well, he did have more to work with, but I honestly think they were working with the same thing. And I think the only reason that you could even pass the first Suicide Squad is because of Will, and
yes, Will and what's her face,
Harley.
Yeah,
but
Harley,
what is her name? I can't think of her name right now.
Yeah, I've lost her name for a
But
moment.
I actually am not a fan.
Margot Robbie.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And she's a great actress. She played
I will say,
Tanya Harding.
Also,
she did a great job on Tanya Harding. You're absolutely right. But what I will say is, between
Amanda Waller
was boss, of course, always. Between the last Suicide Squad and this one, there's one key difference though. She, Harley Quinn, has lost some notoriety, has lost a bit of her shine because the emancipation of one Harley Quinn was a bomb, and people didn't like it.
I don't agree with that. I feel like Harley Quinn, that movie has nothing to do with anything. I feel like the Harley Quinn character is still big, partly because of the cartoon. Regardless of that, Harley Quinn as a character has always been big.
Let me bridge the gap between what both of you are saying. Mm-hmm. I think that the cartoon Harley Quinn outshined Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn so much that it kind of devalues her in live action. And I
feel like this one raised her stock, and there's going to be more projects with her because of what James Gunn did with this time.
I will agree with LeVar right there, where all that being said, I do think the way she was used in this, she's still not at the level of the Harley Quinn cartoon, but I do think she was better than her first two live action iterations. And I think
that whole fight scene when she was
it was great. And I think they're moving away, because the thing about the live action Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, is that they are trying to make her the Batman animated series Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
that's what.
Well, but remember, that's where Harley Quinn comes from. She is the Batman animated series Harley Quinn.
That's fantastic. But what I'm saying is, I saw this one and I felt like she's leaning more toward, because the accent is there less. It's there, but it's not. I think she's leaning more into the cartoons version of Harley Quinn, the show, than she is into the animated series.
Into the animated series. Okay.
What do you call it? So
James Gunn said he feels he knows how to write Harley Quinn.
And for the record, I like the animated series way old OG Harley Quinn way better than the current iteration of Harley Quinn. But I'm not a big fan of Kowoko, or her first name is, so that's probably why her voice triggers me. So maybe that's why I'm not a big fan. But yeah, I like the OG
I disagree with you,
better than this one.
To each their own.
Just my
but LeVar, I do agree that she is better in live action than she's ever been. And I agree with you, Kay, that she's still not on the level of the new animated series. But
she's grown as a character.
Yeah,
like
I
that
agree.
whole thing where she killed the prince, and she's just still like, I
About
ever
that.
said if I,
yes,
if I
about
ever got
that.
another guy and I
That
saw
right
the red
there-
flags, that's the red flag.
Bro, right there. Isn't that right there like an egregious affront to writing? Like, I haven't heard too many people speak on that, but that was really effed up. So let's just get this out the way. And for the record, I give the movie a strong 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a great movie. I had a great time watching it. That scene specifically, I had serious issues with, and I didn't get it. And then I started doing a bit of, like hearing other people, and some people spoke to it, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm. You're
Okay,
literally
yeah,
talking
explain
about.
this.
What did
Break
you
You're
this
get?
talking
down.
about a situation where an American spy has infiltrated this country, right? They captured and they arrested and they locked them up and they put Harley Quinn in basically a pit, right? And then they call her up, get her dressed so that she can go see her captor, right? Her captor basically wants to have sex with her and own her because she has their country represents she
He says he
represents
wants to
something
marry her and he
good.
wants to make
That's
her the
right.
queen.
Because in their country she represents like this strong anti-American sentiment to them.
Yeah.
That's what he
She's
says,
like,
right? Yeah, all that is
rebel.
set up. That's right. She then goes at that moment. She then goes, "Oh, you're so hot," and then basically fucks him before she kills him later. My question is, what the hell? You're telling me a woman gets kidnapped, right? Is basically kidnapped by her kidnapper, and he wants to rape her. If that, and she goes, "Oh yeah, you're hot,"
She
and
threw
then fucks him.
herself at him.
Yeah, but that's
He
horrible
wasn't
writing.
even trying to fuck her. That's just
listen.
Harley Quinn. But she's
listen.
nuts though. Why does it have to make sense?
But
She's
hear
nuts.
me. Harley Quinn,
She's a
for
paranoid
what she
schizophrenic.
was, true. But what she is, what she
She's also a
represents
sex
to,
addict.
true. But what she represents to the people who watch this, like not to me, but I've heard this a lot. She's grown in popularity because she represents owning your abused, the whole Joker and Harley thing, where she has basically grown beyond
She
her
emancipated
station.
herself. The emancipation
That's right.
of Harley
That's right.
Quinzel.
She has grown beyond her station as Mr. J's side piece, right? She's now owning herself, and even though we know her relationship, there was a lot of abuse and all of this. She's now her own thing, and a lot of women hold her as a character that's lauded for that. And now here you go, writing her into a story where she's kidnapped, almost tortured, and then basically, oh yeah, you hot, so I will fuck you before I kill you. It just sounded weird.
Let me hold on.
Let me say this.
It was just odd to me. I don't know.
Here's this. She took control of her own sexuality. He didn't try to have sex with her.
And for the record, I didn't get it until I had women explain it to
garden
me.
and birds and all of this other stuff, and tried to romance her and told her he'd make her queen.
Yes.
And she decided to have sex with him. But then once he said he's going to kill children, she was just there like, I draw the line there. You're a sociopath.
Yeah, no, I get the scene.
If I ever saw red flags again, I just
think the
would
whole
kill them.
scene fundamentally is really weird and strange. And that's a James Gunn thing. That's really weird.
She chose to have sex with him. He didn't try to have sex with her. He didn't initiate anything.
Okay.
He didn't try to kiss her or anything. That was her doing it.
What do you think of the situation?
She's a
I thought that
sociopath.
was very, very strange. I didn't really
opinion.
know how to vocalize it, but I thought it was super strange. And then I've heard some women say exactly this.
Okay.
Like, why the hell would that be allowed? Why would that be cool? Like, that makes no sense.
All right. Let me
I don't get how it doesn't make sense, but she's a sociopath. Why are you trying to make her, make rational decisions?
As well as I do that a lot of people have they infuse these characters, right? And Disney and WB and all the companies, they take those.
Harley has
we shouldn't talk over each other. So we gotta
why would I think?
One at a time.
Why do you think Harley would have morals? Or even morals that have
this has nothing to do with morals. This has nothing to do with
Harley herself, which is like even her saying that this dude kills kids. In the last one, it said that she, was an accessory in the killing of Robin. So how will you have something against killing kids?
No, I get that. Look. I'm not saying anything you're saying is wrong. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying in general, this is a meta question that I have, right? My meta question is, how is it that this character who has been, pushed as a representative of a certain type of fan, and that's real because a lot of women feel that. And I've actually, when I felt this way about it, I started doing some reading and I'm right. A lot of women feel this way. So this whole situation was just weird to me. That's the only part of it.
That she had sex with someone that she found attractive. She
had sex with somebody who captured her.
Okay, let me.
I mean, the army captured her. It wasn't that dude, and she never had no relationship with him prior to that moment.
He's the head of the army.
Her first introduction to him was him coming out of the water.
But he's the head of the army.
Up until the point when she had
captured her.
But up until the point when she met him, he had her bathed and brought to him. Like the army, once he found out he was there, he had her pampered, bathed, put her in this dress, bring her to me, and she was treated nicely after that.
I would say that's
also. It's not like
that's also a little odd because you could easily capture her, have her stew a while, and then bring her to his chamber. That could all be part of the plan. Not like, oh my God, you have Harley Quinn, bring her to me.
Yeah, at that point, she wasn't being tortured. It's just
what do you think
you went there to kill them, and they had to be captured, and it's just they're like, bring her to me, and then he explained his case. That was it. And she has a thing for guys with accents, as pre-established with the dude who had.
So you saw absolutely nothing wrong with that scene whatsoever.
No, because that's not out of character for her because she's a nympho. She freaking in the animated movie she tied Robin to a bed and raped him. That's not out of character for her.
But the animated film is itself a charitable thing.
I'm calling time on both of you because every time I try
to
jump in, one of y'all jump in.
Go ahead.
There's back and forth points.
Please.
So both of y'all shut the hell up. All right. Now, I think that I agree with LeVar in this situation because LeVar is correct. He wasn't the one that had her. She wasn't tortured yet. Right, they were. The army was holding her. Right,
because she was in a pit.
Right, but we still thought she was dead. Right, and just because the army is doing something doesn't mean the president knows about it yet. So when he finds out, he wants to use that to his advantage. He offers her a proposition, and she makes that decision. He did not say he wasn't like he. I thought he was going to tell her 1 minute. I thought he was going to tell her that he was gay because that's the vibe that I got because they don't look at him like he's a man because he doesn't have a woman and he needs to. Basically, she was going to be his
bachelor.
Yeah, right. Sure. So, but when she came on to him, they did what they did. They had sex and whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
women
to me,
are okay. Yeah.
I cannot. Please. So she came on to him. And they did what they did. And it is not until he started, like they did the slow pan backwards where he was talking about killing babies. So it all makes sense. Now, how she got to the gun and all of that was weird, right? So like, I understand that part of it. But as soon as I saw them break through that glass, my thinking was that she was just seducing him Black Widow style just to get to the gun and shoot him. And it's like, I got a job to do.
Okay.
But it turned out that she just made that decision on the fly because she's knucking futs. So I get it. And people can try to see, not every movie has to represent every woman.
Oh, stop it. Every black man represents something for you. You can't say that when the roles are reversed.
Yes, I can.
You can't say that.
I'm saying it right now. That's what I'm saying.
That's not fair. It's not fair. It's not.
Now,
because if a black man is put in one of those precarious situations, you'll be the first to call it out.
Yes, I will. But what does that have to do with this? Right?
This is a precarious situation that the writer incorrectly put her into.
It's not. You can't make every woman be Wonder Woman, right? Not every woman is she's a villain. It's the Suicide Squad.
Go look around at look at what women think of Harley Quinn.
She is a villain. Everyone on the team is a villain.
Yeah, she didn't come off like she puts out in the first one that she was a slut. Like,
so it doesn't matter.
No. Let's not do that.
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter.
It's not out of character for her to throw herself at a dude. She was coming on to every dude that she worked with. She was there rocking poom poom shorts in the first damn movie. Bending over in front of them. She was flirting with Will Smith. All right. So why would you say it's like out of character for her to?
We're having different conversations because I'm not speaking of the actual scene because the scene makes sense.
I'm putting her in a
I'm speaking of the meta narrative of them allowing that to take place because, like you, every time an African American male does something,
not the same thing. But go ahead.
It is because
absolutely not the same thing.
Look. Go ahead. All I'll tell you is I felt a little odd about it. I did a bit of research, and a lot of people, women, are saying exactly the same thing.
Is Harley Quinn...
white men wouldn't say what you're saying about black men. But they'd have to respect the fact that you feel that way. I'm just saying that you need to respect the fact that women, feel this way.
I haven't heard any women say that.
You know what?
So you're a guy.
Actually, you know what? I'll give you one that you watch. Grace Randolph said the same thing. Same thing I said. Same thing. Look it up.
And I will debate Grace Randolph if she ever wants to come on this show.
My point is, it's just a little odd.
I'm addressing the point you are making in front of me, and I am saying I disagree with that point.
Okay.
Now, and
that's like somebody tweeted something, so it's a news story. That doesn't make sense.
I don't think that's what Kay's saying, but the premise of what I am saying is I do not doubt that there are people that feel that way. What I am saying is Harley Quinn, by definition, is a villain.
I know that. I get that.
She is certifiably insane.
True.
Right? She kills people. She makes decisions on a whim. And you
also know that the WB is trying to make her an anti-hero. So even though she is what she is, and we know what she is, they're trying to make her something else. And because they are trying to do that, that's what made me question, why did you make this decision if you want to then also keep making her this hero who's not really a hero, but is really a...
They're all murderers.
They are all murderers, and we can clearly ignore that. That clearly,
that's neither here nor there. That's just what they are. But, yes, we know that.
So we can buy that they're murderers.
This is also a rated R movie. They're not trying to make her anything. If people put those values on her, that's on the people.
So we can buy that she's a murderer.
I'll remember that next time somebody kills some black person in a movie and you get upset about that.
We can buy that we can buy that we can buy that she's a murderer. We can buy that she was on the team with the weasel dude who killed 27 children. She didn't have a problem there. We can buy all of that, but she gets into a scene in a room with a dude who, as soon as he found out she was in, he presented her an offer. And she just said, I'm going to own this situation and sleep with the guy. She was not seduced.
Sure.
She seduced him, and then she killed him. And I don't understand how anyone could have a problem with that situation. It don't make sense to me.
He spent the day with her. He took her to see his birds that dude had burned up. It's not about
the scene. I keep saying that. The scene itself makes sense. But to me, the comic viewer...
But what is the precarious situation? The premise of your question
the precarious situation. The precarious situation is, unlike comic viewers, Marvel and DC users who know who these characters are, whenever the DCEU and the MCU introduces characters, they flip them on their head sometimes. They start it from where we know them from, but then they put a little swag on it for the mainstream audience. They've done the same thing here. And yes, nothing you guys are saying are wrong. I'm not saying that. I don't have a problem with the scene as it makes no sense. I have a problem with you've made Harley Quinn this anti-hero, almost like Venom. You've made Harley Quinn this Venom type character, right? But then after you do that, and I'm talking about you as in WBU. I'm not talking about the film. I'm not talking about her motivations, because within the context of the thing, it makes sense. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying after you make this character who originally is just a villain and just happens to be the Joker's side piece, all things who you guys have changed, because she's not just Joker's side piece anymore, and she's not just a villain anymore. Right?
Okay.
So instead, she is now this anti-hero. She's now become emancipated and doing all this stuff. So it makes me wonder, WB, after you put her forth as this representative of a certain kind of people that a certain kind of person that people are gravitating towards, then you do this situation that makes them all go, really? What? Huh? What?
No,
That's
but
what I was
why?
asking.
We're not. You're not getting to the idea of why you think that is. So,
Well,
what is
okay.
the precarious situation?
Okay,
Explain
so as I saw it and as I was watching it, the reason why I felt odd about the situation is because, as I've said, in this specific scenario, why would you put this character who has become this anti-hero slash, owning empowerment of women,
We got all
and
that
then
part, but
then after that, you put him in a situation where she's in a pit, right? Released from the pit, no torture, sure. Some would consider the pit torture itself.
By any bad guys? She can't.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, and we're making this a bigger issue than it needs to be. I just thought it was odd, and you guys are making the whole thing out of it. That's all. I'm just pointing it out because it was odd. All I'm saying is, once you've established this character, like for example, right? Once they establish Venom as a character, they have established Venom, right? Do you think there will be a world in which Venom eats Spider-Man? Even though in the comic book he could, even though all that stuff can happen in the comic, do you think that the MCU would ever make a world in which
analogy that doesn't make sense?
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, let me explain. What I'm saying is, once they have created this character, this villain who's now an anti-hero, right? They
still wants to eat people, and Eddie Brock.
Sure, and they still do that, and they play it for jokes and all of that. But when it matters, he will still be that anti-hero because the MCU and Feige wants him to be that way. So everything they pick and choose from the comic source, but only to fulfill that new role they want him to play. Same thing as Wolverine. They did the same thing. They pick and choose certain parts of his personality to then, hey, look at this anti-hero guy. Even though we, the comic book viewers, know that he's more than that. He was not that in the comic. They're doing the same here with her, only I feel the things they chose were a little off. But we can continue. But clearly, I'm a minority in this situation.
I'm saying as a storyteller, I'm not saying me as a storyteller, but I'm saying any storyteller.
In general, storyteller.
You cannot be beholden to what to those kind of things. So I can't tell the story I want to tell because the character can't do this and can't do that. Right? So
it's not that I'm saying that per se. But I'm not saying that she can't tell what they want to tell. I'm just saying I think it's an interesting idea that once they've established this character, because look, if they kept the character OG to what she originally was, none of this would matter. But they're not doing that.
Answer this question, right? So the problem is not that she got caught in the pit when we thought she was dead. That's not your problem. That's not where you drew the line.
The scene is not my problem. The fact that the scene is there is the oddity for me.
Okay, so now the scene it is that she was captured, and then the president finds out she was captured. That's the problem. Or we're not at the problem yet. Okay, so now, so the problem is that he made her an offer. Is that the problem?
No. The problem is that she slept with him.
So the problem,
yes, that's the problem.
That's the problem,
and that's not a problem. That's not a problem for the. That's not a problem for the character itself, because as we've already established, that is all canon.
I'm saying not
my problem is
not the background character. I'm saying the character for this movie and this story.
Yeah, that's not out of character for Harley Quinn.
So she's done this in these movies before,
with her being flirty,
because when she was very flirty and very short skirty and all that, from what I heard, it was all about Ayer, and he was a misogynist, and that's why. So if you look in this movie, she's not wearing any of that stuff anymore.
Are we saying that she can't sleep with anybody?
No, I'm not saying.
Who's acceptable for her to sleep with, so that she could be
Poison Ivy? She could les it out. Then it'll be acceptable.
You know what? I will take the L on it. Keep it moving. I'm just saying I felt weird about it. I did some research and I found a bunch of people felt the same way.
Because
clearly you guys don't agree.
That's women's empowerment, Steve.
I think.
Oh, shut up! Stop that! Stop that!
I think.
Stop that!
I would actually like. We're gonna move on.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
All right. We're gonna move on.
That's gonna come bite you. But okay.
We're gonna move on. But I would love to. I have nothing to do with anything he's talking about.
Who was your favorite character of the Suicide Squad?
Okay. I would love to discuss this with a woman, because I think this mansplaining that's going on is not the move. So I don't know what Mr. Johnson's talking about. Don't put that.
Who was your favorite character? I'm trying to jump to something else.
After
Don't
the
worry about
Asian
the
woman
misogyny.
hater comment. All right. So,
My-
all right.
my
Let's go
favorite
with the rest
character?
of the movie. Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
That's hard, man. I'd say I would say the dude who separated his arms and died immediately. Thought it was hilarious.
Was it
No,
Ratcatcher?
no, I actually think Ratcatcher 2 was really good. Like after all
Was
is
it
said
King
and done,
Shark as a shark?
I kind of want. I love King Shark. I loved Sylvester Stallone's version of it. Another thing that's very, very, very like repeated. Isn't this basically the Guardians of the Galaxy? That's Groot. Literally, all he does is say a line or two.
I mean, really, he's Hulk.
But he was great. But he was great.
Hulk.
I loved him.
He's not Groot. Hulk.
But
'Cause he
Hulk
talks
speaks.
more. So does Hulk and
okay,
Thor Ragnarok.
okay.
If you
But
Thor
Hulk
Ragnarok,
isn't a moron, is he? Like
Thor Ragnarok,
like this dude
yes.
was a moron.
Thor Ragnarok, and he started to get smarter as it went on. The more he talked to them,
okay,
he
okay.
even learned Spanish. A couple
Sure.
words.
I will say, as far as my favorite characters, they all are like amazing, with the exception of Peacemaker, which I know we're gonna have a conversation about.
Oh, boy.
There's
I
gonna
thought
be a
they
whole
all-
show about him. He got his own spin-off.
Which honestly, I'm not necessarily too happy about that, because I liked Cena's role. I liked him a lot until he jumped the shark. He went too far. He jumped the shark. You get that? I didn't do that on purpose, but I'll take it.
Yes, you did. You planned it.
I really did not, but okay. Until he went a little too far, right? I loved that he was always playing that edge. Oh, he's crazy enough for justice. But then he actually goes too far. And after that moment, I'm like, I don't think I want to see his movie anymore, like his TV show anymore, because this is too far.
I'ma
You know what I'm
watch it.
saying? I would have loved to see Ratcatcher's TV show, something like that, you know. So
So,
she's also got very interesting things.
I
I
want
like
to say
Polka Dot Man.
that's what I was going to
So
say.
did I.
Dave
So did I.
Dysfunction.
Yes.
And I thought he had a
This is his
really.
breakout role.
I think
Yeah.
I thought he had a
Wow,
really.
He's had a lot of good roles. He really
He
has.
was in The Dark Knight,
Yes.
He has little bit parts and things, a lot of bit parts and things.
and
But
he
I
was in
feel like
Ant-Man.
they gave him a lot of meat in this.
And he does TV
you know?
shows too. I've seen him in a lot
Yeah,
of TV.
I
He
think.
was sympathetic.
I think
Very much.
I think his story is actually very dark.
Yeah,
his-
they
his
took a
mom-
That
goofy
his
ass
mother did that to
idea.
him.
Yeah,
They took a
And
she
goofy
killed
ass
his
idea and they
siblings,
really
and-
made it great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and
You think he comes
and-
back?
No, he doesn't.
No, he got
Um,
squashed.
Because his power comes from like portals from another dimension. What if he fell into a big portal like he did that, you know, and then he pops back up in some other movie?
Which would make sense, except the
It
fact
would
that they've
make
already
sense.
established the canon that his portals burn you and kill you rather than transport you.
I
You
think
never
it makes
know.
sense.
They could write it into the script.
I think-
Anything
I-
is possible.
I think it makes sense if this was the MC fake death universe. But in DC,
They
and
could
what-
even bring back Flag. They could do something like with
I
put
think
his
they should.
girlfriend's heart in him or something like that, because in the first Suicide Squad, they stabbed up her heart and something like that. The whole fact that they showed his heart and stuff, I feel like they might do something like that.
Well, I
Like they
think
got
that
his
that
remains
was the
out the rubble.
callback for the Peacemaker scene at the end, because when they were walking down the hall, they were like, "I can't believe his heart is still beating," and I'm like, "Oh, Flag." Oh, by the way, this is spoilers. So you might want to tune out now. If
40
not.
minutes in.
right?
Everybody's
but,
seen it.
But the thing is, because it's available on HBO Max right now.
Exactly. That's right.
But I think that when they were walking to the end and they were saying, "I can't believe his heart is still beating," I was like, "Oh, they're bringing back Rick Flag," because Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, which made total sense of why Amanda Waller wanted him on the mission. Because remember, they made a joke about it. Everyone's picked for their specific skill. We do the same thing. Why are we here?
I do it better.
Yep.
Right. It was. I
that made
actually
sense at
really
the end.
That
like.
was also a joke about Will Smith, but
Yes, it was. Also a Will Smith joke. True. I'll give you that. Yes.
And the end credit scene. The weasel is not dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I love
Although
that.
Rick
Nice.
Flag
James
is dead,
Gunn's
is dead.
Yeah, but I do love the idea of all the callbacks in the movie, right? Like, so remember the main rule of writing: you show a gun in Act 1, you better use it by Act 3. So in other DC movies, that staff that Harley had would have never got used at the end. They would have thrown it someplace
True.
else.
True.
But it made sense,
this
right?
movie
And
was
it's a
paced very
joke.
well. It never felt like it was dragging, even though it was like 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long
Like
movie, you're right.
everything was like had its purpose. It was no wasted scenes. I didn't feel like, oh, they should have cut this out, you know?
And even though we can just go character by character, I think every character was like kind of fully realized in that. Idris Elba's character, he says he's not a leader. He becomes a leader, and his daughter is looking up to him. That's my dad. Finally, when he said he had nothing to offer her. Polka Dot Man, as soon as he finally is able to overcome,
I'm a superhero. Splat.
Right. So he as soon as he becomes who he's supposed to be, he gets killed, but he died happy. Right.
He died a hero. He
King
said,
Shark,
"I hope we die," when they were going into it.
Right. And then King Shark, he was lonely. He didn't have anybody, and now he has a family. I will say, would you have which King Shark do you prefer? The Harley Quinn cartoon King Shark or the Sylvester Stallone live action King Shark?
I like both.
How dope is it that we got King Shark in a movie? Now,
do you prefer
there's technically 3 King Sharks, but I'll let that slide. I was about to say there's the Flash King Shark too. There's 3.
That's the really smart one, right?
Yes, he actually is.
A lot
very
of
smart.
people was like they like that one better, all buff. But I think that one looks stupid. I think Flabby King Shark looks more believable.
Oh, I loved this King Shark. He's boss King Shark. This one right here, especially with Sylvester's voice, no one else can play King Shark. Has to be King Shark with Sylvester Stallone. Perfect.
All right. So that, and then Rick Flag died a hero. He tried to protect everybody. Ratcatcher 2 was able to you thought what the hell is she doing here, but she's the one who took the thing down. The
one you thought that was the most useless.
Yes, right. Everybody. He said, did Peacemaker have a backstory? Not really, but I think that gets explored in the TV show that they're going to do.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
This is something I thought about today. Why is Ratcatcher 2 always sleeping? Is she on the heroin like her pops?
Nah, I think they were just making a millennial
Every
joke.
time she's always sleeping.
Asleep.
Her father had a heroin addiction. So is it that? Did they have another morphine?
That's too. I think that's a little too much of a needle to thread. I don't think they're televising her problem.
They said her father had
sleep.
that. They said her father was a dope fiend.
Yeah, but that doesn't automatically equate in people's heads that
I'm
means she automatically sleeps a lot.
Why is she always? Because I know that dope fiends have the nods.
I think she's always sleepy.
Maybe that's just me overthinking it, but
I think it's a.
I need to ask James Gunn. I'm gonna tweet at him.
I have my own question. You don't think they overdid it with Amanda Waller this time? I love Viola Davis. She's like a masterpiece actress in everything she does. I think they overplayed her this time a little bit. She's a little too mustache twirly, to the point where even her own people beat her over the head. Like they disrespected. One thing I would like to see in an extra credit screen, how in the beginning she murked a bunch of fools for not being in that room who shouldn't have been there. I would have liked to see that after all was said and done, she dropped a bomb on all of them. Because how you gonna disrespect Amanda Waller like that and get away with it? I thought that was a little bit much.
So I think they played that.
What happened to the black one who actually hit her with the golf club? Because you didn't see her again after that. You just saw the rest of them.
Yeah, but it wasn't made. Actually, you should have made an example of her. Her character has always been established
an example of
as a no BS. You cannot mess with this lady. But in this movie, they mess with her pretty frequently, and they even got her to a point of mustache twirliness that was a little too much beyond the pale for me. A little bit.
I mean,
and then they didn't do it, and then she didn't pay them back for any of that stuff that they did to her. At the end.
Okay, let me despicable shit in the comics.
Let me take this one. I think that they did allude to her paying them back. That's literally what the post-credit scene was, where they're saying this is revenge.
Yeah, but that's not revenge. Come on, that should have been death.
And we don't know what she has planned for them. And I thought the payoff for that, after it was all said and done, that look that she gave them told me they are all dead, right? And I laughed out loud
because they didn't show her.
Right? You saw the look of terror in their faces when she just turned, and that's her as an actress just being great.
And ultimately, if that look was the only thing we got, I'll give you that. But then ultimately, they say that they've been regulated to Peacemaker's hair because of what they did. But that's not a punishment that fits the crime. I think and the reason why I say that is because in the beginning she actually had people who were literally helping her accomplish her task, and she killed them because they weren't supposed to know what they knew. She does not play with fools. This is not something she would have given you as a punishment.
I understand that, but she didn't kill them in the headquarters. You can't do that. Like, you can't kill them right there, and there's so many of them to say what happened that she would have to play her cards and get them another time. If this was out and she could make up a story for it out in the field, then that's different. Get rid of it. And now she's sending them out in the field to get rid of them, which they allude.
Like you say to me most of the time, I can only judge what I saw, and what I saw left me wanting. There should have been a little button right there for, hey, she's the evil incarnate. We know this. She's established this already. If you mess with this lady, you getting it. We should have seen them getting it. But that's just me. Continue.
I mean, we know this from the first one that she'll do anything. She'll kill any of them if they don't do what she says.
So I wanted to see her giving it to them rather than holding her head like, what the hell? No one should ever see Amanda Waller like on the back foot like that. She should be the upper hand at any given moment. And this was not her look. It was unusual, in my opinion. I liked it. The whole situation was funny and everything was great.
She was going to kill about it later. I was like, yo, millions of people die. If the Justice League or whoever didn't jump in, millions of people would have died.
Oh no, I completely agree.
They had to do what they had to do. That's not her being weak or whatever. She was going to kill all of them.
Scene. I'm not deciphering the scene and saying it's wrong. I'm saying what they did was righteous. I get why they did it. I get what the purpose of it was. But we've already established Amanda Waller as a take no BS from anyone, do whatever is necessary to get the job done. She will murk a child if that means it'll get you to get the job done, right?
But
they smacked the heck out of her and they took her out of the spot. Even though you guys are absolutely right, there's still more that can come. There's more. All of that logistics is true. They basically got away with it within the context of this film because nothing happened to them. And to me, that's odd because Amanda Waller has been set up as the ultimate badass because she can handle all of these villains and they're scared of her.
See, again, I think you are doing what you accused us of doing for the first thing. You are taking Amanda Waller from the comics and trying to apply it here.
I'm taking Amanda Waller from the first movie.
Yeah, the first. I
saw the first movie right before this.
Yeah, but you also saw that Batman is not afraid of her. So nobody's. Who have we seen who have you seen that is actually afraid of her?
A bunch of them who they popped her head. I mean,
in the movie, was afraid of her.
In the first movie, she was popping heads left and right. Like everyone knows her as a badass.
She was going to kill everyone.
No one from the Suicide Squad was afraid of them.
If she didn't get knocked out, she was going to kill every single person from the Suicide Squad.
Of course she was. Yes, I get that.
So okay, so
like, what's your point in that?
TK Cole says she couldn't. TK Cole says she couldn't kill them because of the file.
That's why she didn't kill them.
But that's why she didn't kill the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. She was going to kill
that
all
doesn't
of them.
That doesn't save what Kay's talking about, which is
I'm talking about her staff. Yes, her staff should have been gone, like scorched earth.
None of them did only the black one with the glasses. She's the only one who did it.
Yeah, but she didn't see who's hit her. All she saw was her staff was there, and then they beat her.
Show the black one again after that. So what happened?
Exactly. So again, as Everborn says, I'm only judging what I saw, and what I saw left me wanting because I wanted to see her scorch earth on someone who smacked her.
But she probably did.
But we didn't see it. But it wasn't on screen, so I get it. I don't agree with Kay, but he's right. It wasn't on screen. Okay, so TK Cole says that her staff was protected by Bloodsport.
How is her staff protected? Interesting theory, but how is that? Please, I would like more explanation on that. They're all out in the field. How is her staff protected by Bloodsport? I think
her staff was protected because you can't kill them in the office. You got to find
that. I can give you.
Call it.
I can give you that. They have to have an accident. I get that.
I'm pretty sure she looked at the cameras and see.
And I think it takes away from the movie if you have to do a whole 10-minute scene of showing her murking fools. So okay, but now
it looks good for her with the United States government that they got rid of this threat, this global threat, even though that's not what she wanted. She can take credit for that, like that was her plan all along.
Now I want to move on to
I'm sure she saw on camera who hit her. That's why you didn't see that person again.
We can all.
The cameras in the office, but that's just me, hypothetic.
I think we've all gave our thoughts on the movie. Unless there's any other points we wanted to bring up.
I want a number. I need a number. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Okay. I give it an 11. That shit was the best DC movie ever. Shits all over Man of Steel.
Easy. It was
the best
it was
DC
close.
movie ever.
DCEU. You better be talking about DCEU.
The DCEU since it started, because
there's technically no real DCEU. I'm just like thinking of all the various.
The only one that's not, I mean, as far as it been, like all these movies are connected except for the Batman, which is not out yet. But all of these other movies are in the same universe. And realistically, they're all in the same universe because of the Flashpoint shit.
Okay,
multiverse.
But still, you're saying since Man of Steel, because that's what I'm saying.
So it's better starting from Man of Steel. It's the best film ever made.
Yes,
it's better than all of them.
Right, but you're not including Christopher Nolan's movies.
No, because that's not in this.
Okay, so DCEU. This is what I'm saying. We just spent
no. I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying. I'm deciding on whether the first Wonder Woman was better. This was better than the first Wonder Woman for me.
Yes, that's not even close. Not even close. Did you like the third act of that movie?
No.
Star Wars way better than freaking whatever.
Yeah, okay. If you add Starro, fine. Okay. All right. They did have the stupid thing in the sky, which was completely weird.
At least there was no blue.
What's going on, Boom? How you doing?
Blue sky beam.
Well, yeah.
All right. So LeVar gives it a perfect score. You give it an 8.5.
The OG agrees with me. He says the first Wonder Woman is better in his opinion. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I did enjoy this film. I thought it was great.
The first Wonder Woman was great for the first 2 acts. As soon as with the mustache, we found out he was the God of War. It was all downhill.
They horribly killed it. Yes, I'll agree with you on
that. We have no idea what her power set is in that movie. Like, we just decided she could fly. We decided she could. Does she have the block bullets, or can she just use energy to go again? None of it made sense.
The dude who was snorting the whatever shit, like, he was way more menacing than the dude who turned out to be Ares. Like, that shit was so terrible.
True.
Yeah.
Look, I will not go back and argue the point. All I will say is that they established her as a character so well in the beginning that it kind of made it less egregious for me in the end. But you guys speaking about the third act reminds me why that movie had problems, huge problems. I get that. So third act to third act makes this better. I give you that.
All right, and TK Cole gives it a 7, which I vehemently disagree with.
Above average.
But he is bought and paid for by the Wayne Foundation.
Oh,
don't think I don't know about that. So
the Batman slander. Here we go.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. But anyway, I do want to talk about these box office numbers, because this is actually a very big thing. I think it did 26 million opening weekend. Meaning it didn't even do better than Space Jam. Now, talk to me about that. Why do we think that is?
Do we know the HBO Max numbers?
There are no. But hold on one second, LeVar. There are no HBO Max numbers because it's not a Premier Access thing. You just get HBO Max. But LeVar, what were you saying?
It's murky. I get it.
Yeah, it made 71 million. Worldwide, which makes it the highest R-rated premiere since the pandemic started. So,
well, here's my question about the HBO. Like, even though we don't know the subscribers and all of that, they usually tell you how many people watched it. We don't have those numbers yet, do we?
But I don't think HBO Max has ever given those numbers, like for anything.
No, I know, but I know that, but Nielsen and specifically HBO Max is uniquely America, right? They have other versions of themselves in other locations to be able to do that, but HBO Max as we know it is uniquely America right for now, and Nielsen records their numbers. It's a little late, but you do get like estimated numbers. I would like to see and then the reason why I'm asking that question is because much like how and we've had this conversation before in the past where it seems like those with a vested interest in keeping theaters profitable, always kind of like, scream from the rafters. This was a flop. This was that, because they kind of obfuscate from the fact that, hey, by the way, just because people didn't make the money in the theaters, they made it elsewhere in the streaming service. You know what I'm saying? And same thing happened with Black Widow. She made the monies, but the monies happened to have come from the streaming service. And of course they obfuscated that because they go, oh, it's only the theaters, and they want people to go back to theaters. Do we know if all in all the powers that be, in this case WB, are they at least pleased with how it turned out? Yes, less numbers in the theaters, but is the viewership and the sign-in and all of that like offset that? I don't know.
From what I hear, they're happy with how it's turned out. They're happy with the reviews of it, even though it's not doing crazy numbers. There's circumstances why.
Okay.
From what I hear, they're going to give James Gunn the keys to the ship. From what I've been reading.
Yeah. So in other words, everyone agrees that the film itself is great, but for logistical reasons, whether it be pandemic or whatever, and it being available on HBO,
there's a lot of extenuating circumstances as to why it's not performing to what it could.
That's exactly my point. Like, I don't like that people it's a very slogan kind of mentality. Oh yeah, it died, it bombed. Yeah, because it's not the only place to watch it
that way. But
exactly, it's exactly what that is. That spin. Exactly. We need to know the full ramifications. Does that mean that those are the only people that saw it in the theaters? Of course not. I watched it 3 times, but I watched it at home, right?
Yeah,
my numbers should count
second
too.
Time today.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly think anytime I hear anybody come out and go, "Oh, it's terrible," this and that, I always ask myself, what is their vested interest? Because it seems like NATO, not that NATO, but the movie theater NATO, is like working with media sometimes, and they're all very much in this headline grabbing, slogan claiming, oh, the movies are dying, kind of nudge, get back to the movies, even though their bread is being buttered elsewhere. It's just not what they want. So
Steve was making a good point about it. You were making a good point about it when we were talking about it. It's like that people are saying, that it's bombing because they want to keep the theaters alive, and they don't want things to move towards streaming.
So here's the thing. Like, this says that Warner Brothers Suicide Squad, what TK Cole was saying, that 2.8 million households. Here's the thing. I'm gonna just paste an article in the chat. It shows that Extraction was streamed to 99 million people in its opening weekend, right?
Okay.
99 million versus 2.8
but that's
million.
not. But that's 99 million who already have a subscription. They already pay for it because Netflix is the subscription service. Not it's the. So I hear you, but I kind of wouldn't.
Okay, but Netflix 99 versus 2.8. That's kind of crazy.
But you're comparing the subscription service that basically created the model everyone else is following and has been doing it for years. To a new to the upstart.
What that doesn't say to us is that HBO Max is the reason why nobody saw it in theaters. It's just that nobody saw it. So you can't, on the one hand, say,
I see what you're saying.
Were at home,
so what you're saying, all right. So all right. Here's a third part of the equation. What part of the puzzle does piracy play? Because being on HBO Max, it becomes easily available. So what part does that play?
I think that's part of it. So I think there's a few things going on here. One, it's rated R, right?
Okay.
So now you have a subset of people that could go
hard R
see right. So it's a hard R, which means it's geared towards older audiences who are more susceptible to the Delta variant than the younger audiences who could go see something that was PG-13, right? So that's even less
these
people.
days the Delta variant is also messing with kids, but let's continue.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, that cuts off the pool of people.
You're 100%. PG-13 is always the minimum where you want to stay.
So that's one thing.
Always is over.
Then the average Joe who is not into all the things that we pay attention to doesn't know that James Gunn is directing this movie, right? They just know the first Suicide Squad was trash, and they're not going to go risk their lives to go see this one.
Fool me once,
right? And so they're not really going to know what's in store for them, and that it was worth them to go watching. So you counter that with, okay, it's available on HBO Max as well, which means, like you said, it's also available clean copies on piracy. You add all those things together, and that's why you get that, right? It's an uncertain product. It's general public doesn't know that this one, it was slated to be a lot better than the first because of who's directing it. You have people that are skittish about going back to the movies, right? Black Widow is not going to crack 600 million. It might not even crack 400 million. And that's an MCU PG-13, very safe movie. So what did we think this was going to do?
Well, but also Black Widow has money on the other side, which is very kind of dubious, right? So their numbers could be better.
Yeah, but
you're right with this, but Black Widow
has a paywall on Black Widow.
That's right.
You got to pay $30 to watch it.
That's right. So so there's more numbers there that we're not privy to because of that paywall.
That's true, but an HBO Max subscription is 3 times the price of a Disney Plus subscription. So, you bring in a couple of people.
It's like this because it's critically acclaimed. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't put more out in theaters, HBO Max will pay to have DC content made strictly for HBO Max. Like they will pay to have a Harley Quinn show, or even other characters give them shows or movies strictly for HBO Max. So regardless of whatever it does, it's successful in that people like it, so they will make more.
Okay. So let's see. The first Suicide Squad, IMDb, got a 5.9. This new one, 7.5 out of 10. On Meta, it's 7.2 right now. User score also 7.2.
That's interesting.
So,
I thought it was
yeah. So it's not not a barn burner as folks think. At least the Meta scores seem a little soft.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I'm sorry?
What's the Rotten Tomatoes score on this movie?
The Rotten Tomatoes score, let me find it. Hold on, I'll get that too. Rotten Tomatoes, here we go. Give me just 2 seconds. My bad. I should have pulled that one up too. Quick search. There we go. Suicide Squad. Rotten Tomatoes score is 91 on the Rotten Tomato meter, and the viewership score is 83. Now it is higher than all the others.
That's the highest. That's the highest rated DCU thing.
True,
I think
it is pretty good. But again, Meta also Metacritic is also considered pretty substantial in the movie review. Am I mistaken? I thought Meta was also taken there. And on the Meta side, it's a little weaker.
but in the movie world, like Rotten Tomatoes is everything.
Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, true.
But me personally, none of that shit means anything to me. It
doesn't mean crap to me either. Either I like it or I don't. It is what it is. But I guess I'm trying to understand beyond
how many votes? How many votes did it get?
Which one? Rotten
Meta.
Let's see. Meta is based on 53 critical reviews, and the user score is based on 555. So 53 critics came to the exact same conclusion as 555 reviewers.
I didn't know TK Cole was a Rotten Tomatoes reviewer. That's pretty crazy. He gave it the same score.
Nice.
All right.
There you go.
All right. So I think that they would be happy to be in the James Gunn business. I think this is a shot in the arm. I think this is the right. I think this is the right tone that they've taken for Suicide Squad.
You don't think that they want to be in the James Gunn business specifically because he's the hot commodity at Disney? Him and Taiko, they would love to steal Taiko too. I have a feeling that
of course they would, but those are guys
at McDonald's is why Burger King wants him so bad.
No, that's sure.
Not necessarily because of the product, more because he's from Disney.
I think it is from the product, and I'll tell you why.
You think so? Okay.
I think that they know how to make. This is not a 4-quadrant movie. We need to be clear about that.
True,
but they know how to make 4-quadrant movies, and they understand the material in a way that the people making DC movies have not really understood.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
so you're saying they're hoping. So you're saying that you're hoping that they're hoping that James Gunn becomes their Feige. Is that where you're going with
that? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because people are already talking about James Gunn doing the Justice League.
They definitely need a Feige, so I can see him being.
And it is not.
I personally
Walter
don't
Hamada.
see that it's. No, definitely not Walter Hamada. Of course not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I agree with them that he can be the Feige, because Feige, to me personally, Feige seems to not put himself into the picture, but basically bring the best out of the picture. And it seems to me that so far everything I've seen of James Gunn is very signature James Gunn, to the point where he can't remove himself from it. Yeah, it's all good because you've only seen a bit from him. That's his style. But when everything becomes that, everything becomes this tongue-in-cheek little, because he has a very specific.
They have a lot of ridiculous characters that, like, he could do a Plastic Man movie.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I think James Gunn is a talented, wonderful,
and such types of movies and do it right.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I like his films. And every one of his films I've seen, I have enjoyed. I'm just feeling like his style is so particular that when you make him a Feige, meaning he then touches everything, then everything becomes his style, and that might become a little derivative. Just a concern of mine. Maybe wrong, but that's just a concern.
All Marvel shit is derivative. They do the same thing over and over again. It's a hero, and then they fight an evil version of themselves.
But there are different styles of movies in Marvel.
That's like every single one is the same, where they keep using the same formula.
But there are different styles of films in there. You have your espionage movies. You have your,
I'm going to agree with Kay on this one. I think I understand what you're saying.
It's just a concern.
But if he is in the background, and if he is, I think your concern is only an issue if he's directing all the movies. If he is in the background planning things out and understanding the characters, then and he's empowering other directors to play within the sandbox he's creating, I think it's fine. And there have been talks that before the James Gunn firing, that Feige wanted to put him in charge of the cosmic
they wanted to make
part
him,
of the MCU.
Yeah,
so you'll handle this part because it's getting so big that Feige.
You see what you just said there. That actually leads a bit to my point. Feige put him in a specific, because he was handling the cosmic. He started the cosmic, right? So the cosmic can always be his signature. Because right now, Marvel Disney Cosmic is that tongue-in-cheek style. It is Gunn's style. It will continue to be Gunn's style because that's. He established it, right? Kevin Feige let him do that. My thing is, if you let him across the entire MCU, wouldn't that style permeate in the others as well? It's a concern.
Only if he's directing it, I think. Because
don't get me wrong, it's not to say that his style is bad. It's just, I like the fact that the MCU has different genres within itself. Even though, yes, you're right, LeVar, they are very much formulaic. You're right, 100%. But they do have some distinct stuff here and there. That's all.
Who is to say James Gunn wouldn't do that at a Warner Brothers? The problem is that you need someone who can step back and look at the tapestry of all they're trying to put together, and then say, okay, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. Other than that, do whatever you want.
Do what you want. That's right. And to me, Feige has established himself as that a long time ago. You can see that Feige is just the comic lover, not necessarily a specific style, but a comic lover. Although I could get the argument that his style tends to be PG-13. His style tends to be wholesome, bring everybody together.
That is Disney's style.
That may be Disney. Okay. But no, this is not me saying that Gunn is a bad choice. I'm just saying that being that all of Gunn's outings that I have seen so far have been very specific. Look at the Suicide Squad. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Same movie, different characters. Even the characters overlap. It's very specific kind of style. So that's why I go,
Yeah, but I think you're only looking at what he's done in the look. If you look at his trauma stuff,
OG is so right. And I was thinking that when I said this, because I thought exactly the same thing. I love Guy Ritchie. He is my man, but he's a very particular kind of style. Every time he makes a movie, it's a Guy Ritchie movie. Even when he doesn't make a Guy Ritchie movie, sometimes people steal his style. Yes, I've seen a few instances where he hasn't done his style, and it never works. Those movies don't make money. They barely make money. They only make money when he's doing Snatched, when he's doing that kind of thing, But no, I hear you. But I was
So-
thinking exactly the same thing. I was thinking Guy Ritchie when I said that signature film. Yes.
I mean, I know what you mean by saying a Guy Ritchie film, but
Yes.
calling him
You know what I'm
America's
talking
Guy
about.
Ritchie, yes. And
Well,
yes,
okay.
every time
He means
that's a point
Guy
where there's a
Ritchie-
very specific style.
Every time
Okay.
Guy Ritchie has stepped out of his lane, that is correct. Whether
hasn't
was
worked.
King Arthur,
Yeah.
whether it was Sherlock Holmes, whether it was
Yep.
Aladdin. I've
Yep.
seen every
James
Guy
Gunn
Ritchie
is
film.
good at comic book movies and taking quirky characters that nobody really gives a shit about and making you give a shit about them. Like the most ridiculous
Agreed.
characters.
Sure. I
He's
agree
good
with
at
that.
what he does.
I agree with that.
Would he be right for a Justice League?
I
disagree
think it
with
would
that.
be better than the Justice League that we got.
I disagree with that too. I think it would be different, but not better.
So
I
you
think.
think
I
Justice
think.
League was
Hold on.
good?
Hold on. I think it would. I think it would be better.
It'd be way better. It
but-
would be
no,
no,
but
you
I
mean
don't
you
think-
mean better than Snyder's Justice League or better than Justice League that we got? Because we got two different Justice Leagues.
Both of them were trash.
That's your opinion.
One was
I
just a
like the
polished
second one.
turd.
I like the second one much better than the first.
It's better than the first one, but it wasn't good.
No, but I actually think
It's
it was
long.
good. I watched it twice, the
It looks
whole
great.
film.
It
All
looked
right.
great.
So
Say
again,
that.
you guys are going to agree to disagree. I don't want to
We're gonna agree to
turn that
disagree on
into
that.
what,
Yes.
what you call it. Okay, so OG's over there talking about all the Guy Ritchie movies. Ask OG, do you know about Rock and Roller? And if you
Yes.
don't know about Rock and Roller,
You
you
got
I
to
am
seek it
told
out.
of Rock
you're not
and
up on
Roller.
game. all right.
Seek it out because that movie is great.
All
Continue.
right. So, but what I really like,
You want to talk about what if?
we're going to talk about what if in a second, but I do one last question I want to ask is, what does this mean for Dune? If Suicide Squad
Mhm.
can't make money at the box office,
Mhm.
what does it mean for Dune? Because I think
I mean-
there is no chance.
That shit was
I
going to
mean,
make
Dune is
200,000
gonna-
opening weekend, bro.
Didn't we already establish this like
Dune
last week or
is
3
gonna
weeks
be-
ago when we talked about it?
That's
I know, but this is
It's gonna
this
be a
is
great
worse.
movie that
It's
nobody's
worse-
gonna watch.
Yeah, it's worse than you thought. Dune is gonna go double wood.
See, and the problem with Dune is there should be 3 other instances of Dune because there's multiple versions. They'll never make the
Oh,
others.
man.
Because no, and let's be clear. Just like I said in
When is that coming
Blade
out?
Runner, this
Soon.
year, but later, yeah. Just like I said for Blade Runner, he made a damn good movie, and I don't give a crap that it did that the sheeple didn't go see it. It was worthy, you know.
Like I said, favorite movie of 2017.
Yeah, it was worthy, and I suspect Dune will also be worthy, and also the sheeple will not go see it, and it'll be the same thing.
I feel like they should change the name to Doomed because this is doomed to bomb at the box office.
I
Yes,
see
it
what you
is.
did there.
Yes, it is.
But you know that James Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, he did.
So
I
that's
do
a-
recall that. But that's not this James Gunn. That's early James Gunn. Back in the day,
All right.
James Gunn.
And he also did Brightburn. Well, he was a producer on that, which is what he would be if he was running these things. So,
And Brightburn is Brightburn is the Superman version, right? That's
yeah,
the movie, right?
yeah.
That
That's
is
why he could do a
exactly
great Justice
that is
League movie,
exactly
man.
just
He
that
needs
is
to
exactly Snyder's Justice League. He did exactly the same thing. Snyder's Superman. Brightburn
feel
is the
like-
same film.
Brightburn wasn't good.
I feel like
Exactly.
James Gunn could
That's what I'm
do-
saying. You haven't seen Brightburn. James
Yeah,
he's
Gunn
seen
did
it.
not do.
He saw it.
You did see it,
I saw it.
I
and you
watched it
liked
with him.
that.
It was all right. I didn't
And
think
what
it was
about-
Better
terrible.
than Snyder's.
Not
better
better than
than-
Snyder's Man of Steel. Absolutely not.
Because he's saying that Snyder could. Am I wrong, LeVar? Or are
I
you
feel
saying
like-
that James Gunn could do a better Superman than Snyder?
I feel like he could do an Injustice movie based on Brightburn of what he did with that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if
I
you
would- I
want
would
that
actually-
dark universe, I say stick with Snyder. Snyder does the dark universe
Yeah,
better.
if you were gonna do Injustice, I would give it
I
to
mean,
Snyder.
just the whole opening of Suicide Squad, how everybody was getting killed all brutally and shit. I feel like he could do a great Injustice movie.
Yeah, but it's more to the violence.
It's more to
than-
it.
it's
That's
more
right.
to it
And
than
there
that.
needs to be seriousness. There needs to be gravitas.
and
so there was no
all other things
seriousness
that
in
he
this
doesn't
movie?
really know how to do. I have not seen James Gunn do gravitas.
Okay, what about the
and do-
Belko experiment?
No, I did not see that. Have you seen that?
You should watch it. It's like a horror movie where everybody like goes. There's a chip that goes off in their head, and everybody starts
Okay.
killing each other.
Okay, cool. Is it one of his signature things, or is it like unusual for him?
It's kind of like a comedy horror.
There you go. It's a signature for him. He always does the same thing. I want to see him do something else.
All right. So now I do want to move on. I think we've done enough Suicide Squad. What if?
Oh, and real quick. It was asked. Dune comes out October 1st.
Okay.
Continue.
So it's going to flop October 1st. It'll flop October 2nd. All right. I care very much, but I'm just saying it's not going to make.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not even going to watch it.
All right, because you have no class, sir. You have no film
class. I don't like trash movies. I like wasting my time
because your palate is not refined. So.
You like explosions.
I like better movies than y'all like.
All right. So speaking of worse things, Marvel's What If? Talk about it. Who wants to go first? Who wants to take this?
I want you to go first.
Peggy Carter is a better Captain America than Steve.
Stop, LeVar, it is his turn. Come on now. Steve, you're first. What do you think? What do you think?
No, man, I want to go last.
No, I don't want you to go last because he always does that. Not this time, player. You first. Let's do this. Come on.
All right. He runs the show. It's his show.
No,
you know what he's trying to do. Come on.
He's daring me. I'll take the bait. It's fine. I'll take the bait. Look, I think that the show was super average.
Okay.
And I think it moved too fast. I think it was just, here's the MCU greatest hits for this movie, and I don't think I learned anything. And to me, it was a throwaway thing.
Bro. It's a 30-minute cartoon.
Now the production value was amazing, and it didn't have to be 30 minutes.
No, it didn't. I agree with you on that part. It should have been longer.
I think they rushed it too fast, and there wasn't enough time to do anything with it. There is COVID talk surrounding its production. So it's supposed to have 10 episodes. It ended up having 9. So there is cadence to that. They're making this big thing about her jumping into the super soldier machine is what caused the new timeline, and it spun this whole thing off.
No, that's not what caused the timeline. No. It's her deciding to stay down there when they were starting the experiment.
Sure, but that led her to jumping in the thing. So
yeah.
But the point is, other than that, it was just Captain America with her in it. What's the difference? What was so special about this?
I will
Peggy
give
Carter
you that.
Instead of Steve.
That's right. I'll give you that, but that's because see, but that's the thing. Most of these shows. Yeah. Please go ahead, LeVar. You first.
Okay, it's just like with Loki and variants, or just like if you were to even say it's connected to that, and like all this what if stuff happened because of the Loki shit and the timekeepers or whatever. It's if I already seen Captain America, the first Avenger, I don't need you to show me every story beat for 2.5 hours if I know what happened to Steve. You allude to it and you see similar story beats. The same shit is just role reversal with Peggy being Steve. So I don't need you to spell it out for me. I got it in the 30 minutes.
But I feel
plus, all of these episodes are going to connect. At first, we just thought it was a bunch of non-interconnected stories, but it's all going to lead into them all connecting as the Avengers. So I don't need more than 30 minutes. I don't need more than 30 minutes because all of them are going to do callbacks to the films, and it's going to show you if this character had this role, and then it's going to lead into the next season.
They're not establishing new things. They know and LeVar is absolutely right. They know that if you're in there, chances are, not everybody's like this, but chances are if you're watching this because you've seen the original source material.
I don't need to spell it out for
they're
me.
here to show you the alternative, right? You're there for the kick of the alternative, not the whole establishing of the new character. You know the character. You know both characters. You know Agent Carter, and you also know Captain America. That's what they're banking on. You know both of them well.
That were like straight out of the Captain.
Exactly.
That was the whole thing, is what it
was.
That's
so do you need to see it for 3 hours, Steve? If I already know what happened with that?
Do they need to do a beat for beat every single one? Like the train scene, they come out and they're all shooting. But it was literally beat for beat.
But this is what I'm saying. My problem is that it was beat for beat, and I didn't need to see all those things. I thought it should have been something different.
Longer.
No, because I guess what he's saying is they should have done other things instead of just repeat the whole thing as the original character.
Because for your whole point is what happened. You know what happened, so you don't need to see all of that.
Within the frame of the story, it does make sense though, because what they're saying is one decision changes the outcome, but that doesn't change everything about the outcome. It just changes key parts. So other parts will stay exactly the same.
A lot of shit was different.
Yeah, because it was Peggy Carter, now we don't have Winter Soldier. He does not exist in this universe because Peggy Carter got in there, and
he does exist, but
he's Bucky. He's just a normal dude.
The Winter Soldier. He doesn't.
When does he get in it?
I don't know when it happens. Because I saw animation of him in it.
There is a trailer of the Winter Soldier in it. Yeah. Then I look forward to seeing what change creates him, because what should have created him didn't create him, because if you saw in this episode, right when he was falling, she caught him. And in the original version, he was not caught.
Yeah, they tried to. We thought they were alluding to it. It was just like, oh, you almost ripped my arm off.
That's right.
But we'll see in the next 8 episodes.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, let's judge this for what is here rather than what we're going to see. But I personally think that if you take and you're right, Everborn. If you are a casual, normal who just, I heard this what if thing is interesting, let me go take a look. You'll be confused as hell if you have no other context. And even then you'll have a great time because it was fun. But if you do have the context, this was absolute masterpiece level perfection, because you already know all of this already. It looked great. The production style was bitten. I was looking for it all day, couldn't find it. There's the Iron Giant, but even before then, there's this French production house that made an indie cartoon movie like in the late 80s that looks cell shaded, the whole thing. Even the way they animate makes me think they may have gotten some folks from there. Some people didn't like the animation. I wish they had taken the animation a bit more seriously than they did. I like what they did there. They took a very movie approach to it, meaning, your lighting is very cool and cinematic when she drops down and starts murking them
it's
Nazis.
Like three-dimensional, but
yeah, they did a very interesting thing. I just wish it plays good for action, but it doesn't play good for much else. Like when they're talking and they're this and they're that. And also the other problem I had with it was two other things, and then I'm done. Thing one, I love when all the characters that voice their real characters, and it makes it even more egregious when you hear those people that don't. Because a lot of them did.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, Steve didn't, and we know that the Iron Man won't, and a few other folks splattered in won't. But the flip side of that is all those that did, some were great, others not so much. Sebastian Stan needs to take voice acting lessons.
Yeah,
which is
I didn't
weird.
even realize it was him till I saw it in the credits.
It's weird.
That don't sound like him.
Because he didn't have that, hey, I'm here, I'm doing it. It's almost like I'm phoning it in, because it's literally phoning it in, And definitely Peggy Carter was not like that at all. She was in it, you know what I'm saying? But then again, she's hungry, and Sebastian Stan already has his metal arm in real life. So maybe she's there to try and get on the board while he's already on the board.
So there's another, unless LeVar, I don't know if you have some things you want to say about it, but I want to take it in a different direction.
I thought it was great. Like I said, they don't have to spell it out for you. It's just they're just gonna expand on it. All the episodes are interconnected. I don't feel like they need to tell me more. They tell me just enough. I'm invested in this stuff. I've watched all the movies, so I get it.
Yeah, they made this specifically for him.
Yeah,
specifically for him. Yeah,
but I watched all the movies as well, and I feel like I didn't need a rehash of the first Iron Man. I wanted to see, okay, she's different, but do something different with the story.
Have you actually ever read any of the What If stories before?
Every now and again in the 90s.
Because what they do in the beginning is they establish that connection. Oh, it's the same, but look at it as it diverges. And because it's a comic, they get to keep diverging and keep diverging and keep. But because this is the cartoon, they started there. They haven't gotten a chance to keep branching. Don't judge it. I know we keep saying judge what you've seen. But in their stories historically, they always start exactly where you expect them to, and then they go crazy. They just started where you wanted them to. They will go crazy.
I think, or I hope that next week, I think Black Panther is next week, and we'll get the final performance from Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, as the new Star-Lord. And I reserve the right to change my mind, but I was not impressed by the first chapter. Now, that being said, the production value was amazing, and her fight scenes were better than what obviously
anything you've ever seen Steve do in that first movie.
Right, but it's a cartoon, so you can do that.
Cartoon.
Right. Now, that being said, I would love to see them continue this sort of animation style and tell some of the stories that they can't tell in live action.
That'll
and
solve
it doesn't
the problem.
need to be in What If. I'm saying just tell some of the offshoot graphic novels.
They can start the What If conversation and then establish, let's say, Captain Carter, and now there's the Captain Carter show. They started her in What If and keep it going.
This is their way.
But in animation, I don't agree with that. LeVar, can you watch a whole film like DC style, like as we watch? Are you ready to watch like a bunch of movies in this specific cell shaded animated style this way?
Yes, because that shit look cool as fuck.
Okay, maybe it's because they to Everborn's point. Maybe it's because it was rushed and more like the broad strokes. I would like to see them calm down and really go through the mishigas of making a story before I pass judgment. I liked the art style and the way it was as a hierarchy, as a 30-minute let's show, because they basically took the whole first the entire first Captain America movie and made it a 30-minute thing.
It was a Cliff Notes of that movie.
As a Cliff Notes medium, as a way of telling Cliff Notes, it worked great. I just don't know if it'll translate to beat for beat talking scenes, sitting scenes. It works great in action, but their animation style, I don't know. I will wait a few more episodes.
I would watch more of it. I can't wait to see the next episode.
I can't
tell y'all wrong. You're wrong.
I hope they take Haley Atwell or whatever her last name is. I forget.
That's it. You got it right, Haley Atwell.
Yeah, and they, as you said in the DMs back, I hope they show her the bag, and as such, she hits the gym immediately if that's the problem, and gets a real live action attempt at it. Because I would love to see them do what they did in this cartoon, really do it, give somebody this frame and really have them go for it. I thought it was great.
Okay, so now I want to ask this other question about just all these MCU TV shows. And I know a lot of people theorize and hypothesize about this, but I'm saying with the multiverse specifically, is Disney and Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios running the risk of diluting the brand to where there's just too much of it, and when there's so much of a thing, you end up caring about it a lot less as the audience, because it becomes kind of disposable almost?
I hear your argument on
too much is never enough.
All right, one at a time.
But I guess my question I have to ask you related to that is, do you honestly think that all the people that were watching, let's say, WandaVision, will be as rabid for this as they were for WandaVision? Do you think that's the same audience?
Once the MCU has been able to thrive because people are under the illusion that they need to consume everything, and once they get to that point where it's so much that they feel like, well, I don't need to watch this thing, where does that stop? And I think that's a cascading effect. And I think their main players are out, and they're trying to make us fall in love with new characters. And the only one that they were successful with was T'Challa, and he's gone, unfortunately. So
I hear you, but I guess I will say real quick, and I want LeVar, I want to hear your opinion on it, because I honestly think in this specific instance, Feige kind of his focus wasn't the average. I think his focus was LeVar. Because this is like Cliff Notes. Hey, you've seen this. What if this happened? It's not really meant for the average who then becomes trending on Twitter, and they're I don't think it's that same clip. I think it's for the comic heads, those who know, those who get a kick out of seeing that. Because like LeVar has already said, they're not going to retread ground for you. They expect you to know this. So you're already bought in. You're the diehard.
Even though they spent 30 minutes only retreading and not doing anything.
Here's what they're doing. What if the only reason it exists is we need content for our streaming service? So we already have these stories. We ain't even got to try hard. Just switch this character for that character, animate it, boom. We got something else that we can sell to them. I mean, it looks great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be canon unless people like it. If people gravitate towards certain episodes, it's like, okay, put that into development. But it's just like a testing ground.
I completely agree with you, LeVar. What I will say, though, is when Kevin, back in the day, before a pandemic and all that, when Kevin Feige said that all these shows need to be watched in order for it to matter, except for one of them, he meant, and we've already heard that, he meant WandaVision, right? So initially, before all of this happened, the plan was to make What If canon. The plan was to make those offshoots actually turn into something.
The problem with just the multiverse in general is that makes everything canon and nothing canon at the same time, and then it becomes pointless. And I just think I'm already in the bag, right? They already got me, but it was able to get so big because they were able to get everybody else. And I'm just saying, there's no scenario where you just keep doing things. This happened to the comics industry in the 90s when they started doing all these variant covers and doing all this crazy stuff and making characters like Squirrel Girl because we need to make characters.
They were good though. These are good now. Like those characters eventually jumped the shark. They went too far. So far, even though there's the saturation like you're talking about, all of the stuff they've showed has been stuff that people have been happy to consume. Right? If they start showing you stuff that's not so good, then maybe you're right. Then they might start having to, rethink. So far, everybody's rabid for everything they've shown so far. I mean, you disagree?
Everybody was like that with the comics until there was.
So you say this is even
it's great
even
until
this follows that
the
line.
stock market right now is at 35K.
Yeah, until it falls off a cliff. I get you. Right. I get you. Okay.
So that's the thing, and I'm not saying that will happen. And people have been theorizing about Marvel fatigue since the MCU started. I'm just saying,
what happened to that? What happens in that multiverse where there is no pandemic and everything that Kevin Feige originally put together continued down the line exactly the way they initially.
Honestly, I think
that world is where they get overly saturated.
I think the pandemic helped them, especially with WandaVision, where everybody was stuck inside, and then they happened to have a show ready about someone who's stuck inside of a bubble, right?
Well, that's my point. My point is like you're describing here. Is it oversaturated? Like I think the pandemic helped reset that, so they can continue going for a while.
But I think the problem is they have the brand. But the brand was only so powerful because of the characters, and now they're almost starting from scratch. Nobody knows who Simu Liu is, right? Nobody knows who the Eternals are. Nobody knows who Miss Marvel is. Yet the hardcore know, right? But are those characters like people are not like dying to see? Oh my God, what is?
Give me the name of the next 2-3 movies, not the shows, movies.
Shang-Chi.
Okay, so that's new. The Eternals, and then give me another one, like a movie. Because I haven't thought of it that way. But you're right.
Spider-Man is the next one. No Way Home.
So they at least have one clincher to kind of bring them in.
Which is theoretically the last one they have before they have to re-up with Sony.
That's right.
Spider-Man may leave after
that. We are living in a world. Well, we also have Ant-Man, which yes, we know Ant-Man, but there's still established characters there. We also
but people don't really care about.
We
Ant-Man
know, like I said, we know Ant-Man, but we also have Doctor Strange. He has not been replaced yet. Who else?
So you have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. You got Wakanda Forever, but they basically have to start from scratch with that.
No, yeah. I'm not talking about the movies. I'm talking about the characters. Like you said, the characters are all gone. So we have Doctor Strange, who's still there, right?
Yeah,
we
Thor,
have
Love
Ant-Man,
and Thunder,
who's still there. Thor, Love and Thunder. Okay, what else? Guardians of the Galaxy, which will come in like 2024 or something.
Right.
But that's about it, right?
Yeah, they have gone. They're in rebuild mode.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and they have the new Captain America, but we haven't seen his film yet, so we don't know. So that's not a known commodity. Okay. Yeah, so, you're right. LeVar, that is an interesting place to be.
Do you agree that the MCU is in rebuild mode, or do you think they're stronger than ever and got nothing to worry about? You're on mute.
They have nothing to worry about. They've constantly been putting out movies with characters we don't know and then making people like those characters. I mean, it can be argued that the Avengers was a B squad before, they made them A-list characters. Nobody cared about none of these characters like that, but they made it all work.
It was a joke until the MCU.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is,
can they keep pulling it off?
They're at the stage where they have to do that again.
Can they keep pulling it off? This is round 2. First round, we didn't see it coming. Now we see it coming.
All they got to do is keep making good movies. As long as the movies don't stink.
You didn't like Black Widow.
It wasn't terrible. It was better than.
And you don't care about the next 2 movies. And you said you're only as good as your last hit. So we're going to talk about 3 movies from the MCU that you as a hardcore fan don't care about.
And Feige needs you more than anybody else. So that's
I'll watch them all.
I know you're going to watch them, but
even if I don't care about it.
But you're not enthusiastic
about it. I don't have to be enthusiastic about it, but I'm a comic book movie fan. So I watch them all.
If people by and large don't care, or it's just whatever, you're not going to have the meteoric rise that you've been on. So I'm just saying.
Do you think Shang-Chi's going to do numbers?
I don't think anything's doing numbers in 2021, honestly.
No. Yeah.
Unless they push it back to 2022, it's not doing numbers. I'm just saying that right now.
I don't feel like people are going to go out in the middle of a pandemic.
They would for a character.
I am the target audience. I am not going to see Shang-Chi day one. I would. I'm Mr. Stubbs A-list. I'm there day one. I'm not doing it. I'm just not because my kids are more important to me. And although I'm vaccinated, they're not.
I'm all about that 45-day window now. I could wait.
Exactly.
If I find out
and that's what they've established,
cameo in it or something, or like the X-Men show in it,
there'll be something like that.
I'm not hyped to see it. You know.
See, and Everborn, like you said. I think we had this conversation. We had this conversation to make an analogy to the arcade environment industry. Now they're trying to go, and I also listened to the Disney investor call this afternoon. We think it's an interesting experiment. We'll have more data points that they're planning on making, because somebody specifically asked, "Hey, why is Shang-Chi not having an all access component?" Oh, this is just another data point we're going to use to see, how the public perceives us. And
It might do great in China.
No, I doubt that. I doubt that. Every time Disney tries, they always come.
They're making a westernized version.
It's exactly the same as Mulan,
and they have a very large movie industry over there, and they might. It's not necessary that it's going to translate.
The only way Disney makes a Disney movie for China that China actually loves is if it's by a Chinese director, Chinese writers in China. Really take it there. If you, as an American, make an American property and go, "Do you like it now?" They go, "Yeah, thanks for the Chinese food." And by that, we mean what you guys think of as Chinese food. It's never good enough. And I can see that. It makes sense. We think, "Hey, that was cool." They go, "Yeah, that's what they think of us, don't they?" That's it. It is what it is,
Yeah, so there's that aspect of it, but I do think if you have 3 movies in a row where it's not like you had one bad one and then 2 good ones or whatever, but they're gonna have 3 movies in a row that are new quantities. Mix that with the TV shows seeming to be better than what they're doing there, and then the TV shows are going way left with this multiverse stuff. There's a risk there. That's all I'm saying. There's a risk of alienating the casual audience.
I don't disagree.
And the casual audience is needed for them to be as big as they are. And unless they're only able to tell these far out stories because they're so big. And I'm wondering if they are spending that capital in the right places.
I feel like at this point,
problem.
Because movie theaters are not needed. Disney could just put out product and just sell it for $30, on their streaming service.
I don't think that.
So you think movie theaters are where arcades are? I don't think we're there yet, my friend. I don't think so.
We're getting there.
We could get there, but we're not there yet.
Well, but
people still love their movie theaters.
To the $30 thing, I don't think the economics are there to sell a $200 million budgeted movie for $30 and make your money back yet. Not to say Netflix doesn't spend $200 million on movies all the time, but the whole $30 return on your investment thing, There's been no numbers to prove
there's
that
no proof
works.
that works. Yeah, not yet.
Now,
Not
if
yet.
you get to Netflix level where you're charging people almost $20 a month, see, because Disney Plus is what, $6 a month, $7 a month,
something like that.
they could have 100 million people, but they're only making a quarter of what Netflix is making. They have 200 million, and they're charging almost $20 a month.
Well, but the problem,
So-
the reason for that is because Netflix has established themselves as
I
a
understand
source
that.
of that.
But what I'm saying is that does not mean that WB and Disney and Universal can do what Netflix does.
Oh,
and
yeah, of
spend
course not.
$200 million
Of
on a
course not.
movie,
Yeah, of
and
course not.
it works itself out because
Yeah.
all they need is to keep people subscribed. These guys are in growing mode, so they're taking a loss on that.
Indeed.
So I just think sure.
The question is, will they continue to be able to take a loss on it? Because as we've seen, when they split off that WB, that AT&T stuff, and they go and they make, because there will be more streaming services there. There will be more streaming services to come because of this deal that AT&T did and split it off and all of that.
Yeah, but
and they will also need a lot of money. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
they're going to need the money to populate their streaming service, and I don't think they got that cash.
Yeah, and that's really, to me, like something to keep your eye on, because sure, Netflix is that known quantity and they have to grow, and they're in debt because they got to spend $20 billion. Not that they're not making that like almost every month.
Oh, hell
right.
Yeah.
But they still have to continue to spend that money. I just think that a Disney and a Warner Brothers and a Universal, when they spend $250 million on a project, they need their money back open.
Oh yeah. They're not. They are not the Microsoft in the environment. They're the PlayStation in the environment.
Right.
Yes.
If they are going to go to streaming only, I think the quality of the content will suffer because they're going to spend less money on it.
Yeah,
I hear you. Okay.
For now, anyway. Right.
Okay.
If they raise prices and they get 200 million subscribers, then you'll see the regular big budget Hollywood stuff.
But to speak to the analogy I was speaking to a little bit ago, just a minute ago, about the whole Microsoft thing, much like Microsoft, they're able to bring resources from other income streams in order to infuse the future benefits of this thing. So even here and now, if they went, screw it, the theaters are lost cause now, and we're going all in on Disney Plus, there is still the potential, since they know their bread is buttered in all these different places, right? They could, just like Microsoft, they could infuse more cash into the pot in order for eventually for it to spur what they needed to spur.
Yeah,
I do hear you, though.
We don't know that it will do that. And the only one that has been able to be semi-successful is Disney Plus. Well, no, I'm saying that's not Netflix.
Oh, besides Netflix. Okay. Well, are you saying that Amazon is not successful? Prime Video is not at that clip?
Listen, tell me how successful Prime Video it is when you don't get free packages with that shit. That shit is an add-on that no one would subscribe to if it didn't come with the Prime
right.
shit.
But by your metric, which is
no, but they don't count.
And movies and stuff, they get accolades.
They don't count. Amazon,
of course
I don't care
they do.
What they put out. I don't care about The Boys. I don't care about Invincible.
They don't count until you can charge me just for that service.
Exactly. People are paying for Prime, and that is a bonus. Nobody's like, I'm gonna get Prime because of video.
I get you. that does make sense.
Yeah, Amazon is the Microsoft of street. Sure, they are, but they're just throwing money into this thing. But let it stand by itself and then talk to me. And I'm not saying spin it out as another company. I'm saying charge for it as a separate service, and see what the numbers really are.
Yeah, let it live and die by its own, on its own steam, and see how it works. Makes sense.
They can't throw money at anything. They spent $1 billion on this Lord of the Rings series that they're making. Which I cannot wait to see. All right, so let's, because we're like right here at 2 hours. So I just want to go on a rant really quick, unless anyone else has anything to say.
You're wrong about What If. I think it was a hit. Let's continue. Go ahead and rant.
No, I'm not bringing up that comment. Okay, so the Scarlett Johansson versus Disney case and what it means for the future of streaming. So I know we talked about this before, and we kind of talked about like the sort of specifics of it as to in a vacuum, right? Scarlett Johansson feels like she was supposed to get a cut at the box office, and them and Disney deciding to put it on Premier Access limits the amount of money that she can make. So we all understand that part of it, right? But I think the bigger part of it is that the reason everyone is moving to streaming is that when you do theatrical releases, there are many cuts and splits that you have to do with the money, right? You have to pay the talent involved, and the talent is not just the lead actresses, it's also the producers, it's everyone else. And they don't get upfront fees, they also get points on
stuff. Yeah.
Right. They get points from the sales of that, right? But when it goes to streaming with the Netflix model that everyone is trying to emulate, Netflix says, that's your project. I will buy it for a flat fee. What you get is what you get. I'm taking the risk out of it for you.
That's right.
We're done. I add it. I don't give you any numbers. You don't need to know. There's no points because we're not doing theatrical releases.
Yep.
So that's what it is. And the other studios see this, right? Disney sees this. Warner Brothers sees this, Universal sees this, and this is why you see all these streaming services pop up, because they actually lose a lot of money by offering the talent points off of the box office. That's just the way it is. And that's before you get to the fact that 30%, sometimes more, depending on, I think the studio makes more opening weekend, and then it shifts towards more in favor of the theaters as the run continues. But they still have to take a cut off of that and then pay the talent points off of that. They don't have to do that with streaming. Mm-hmm. And if this Scarlett Johansson case says, because what Scarlett Johansson is asking for is not just a piece of the $30 Premier Access. She's arguing too. Yes, she is arguing that Black Widow has driven people to subscribe to Disney Plus, and therefore,
it may be true or not true, but that's a good argument to make,
right? And therefore, she is owed the continued a continued piece of those subscribers
as long as her content is still on the service,
right? Yeah, and as long as they subscribe to it, right?
Yes.
And so the reason again that, but how can you determine that? How can you determine who signed up?
You deserve a cut of whatever was bought.
Here's my question. Here's my question, Everborn. Do you think that her lawyers have even the smallest point here?
I'm going to come to that, but I want to finish the argument. Hold that thought. Okay. Let me just get through this whole thing.
Yeah, go.
That I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So they want to. So there's no way to even tell that. But what that would require is
there is a way to tell, but that's neither here nor there. Continue. There is a way to tell.
We'll come to that. But it would require in order to tell, it would require them opening their books. Mm-hmm. No one wants to do that. Not Netflix, not Disney, not HBO, not Peacock, nobody.
Yeah,
right?
I get that. So, but they need to. Even though nobody wants to, they need to. Just like we've had this kind of conversation before in the past. Please, go ahead.
So the reason everyone has been shifting towards the streaming model is specifically because they didn't have to spend those costs. So they are all putting themselves in debt in order to create streaming juggernauts just like Netflix. Now, if it comes down that they have spent all that money and they are saying that that is the future of the company, and the reason it is the future of the company is because they don't have to pay the talent other than the flat fees up front, what will it mean if they now have to, and they now have to open their books? Does that mean that is a loss? They would be better off be going back to the theater model, which all of them who have leveraged their companies on this thing, right? So everyone is watching this with bated breath. And if Scarlett Johansson is successful, guess what? Everyone that has done these deals are going back. Yeah. And those lawsuits could potentially bankrupt some of these people.
It could kill some of these companies. Yes. So the question is, what do you think? I want to know.
I think that her lawyers are supposed to make that argument, right?
But do you think, within your ears, do you think that it sounds like a logical argument, or she's just trying to money grab and it's ridiculous? What is your opinion on the matter?
No, I told you, she's supposed to do this, right? She was supposed to get some money.
I get that's what she's supposed to, but do you think her argument is sound?
I don't know.
Obviously,
I don't.
it's the courts that'll decide.
No.
But do
I
you
know what
think
I
she
think.
deserves?
I think what he
Because I think LeVar thinks her argument is crap. Am I wrong, LeVar?
What I think is this is rich people problems, and pay the damn artists who came up with these stories, because y'all ain't paying them from the story that y'all had sent in the group chat. Paying these people $5,000 and shit like that,
and they can't
pay
get
them.
into
They can't
All
even
you about
make
why
it to
you
their own
raping these
premieres.
people when y'all couldn't even come up with this shit if it wasn't for them. Pay these
100%.
pay
people
the comic
if
writers.
y'all making billions of dollars.
Pay the comic writers.
I don't give a crap.
You're right about
They're
that.
already paying her all these people too much money to do this stuff anyway. Y'all in front of a green screen, and really the shit that y'all do, the stunt people do most of that, the heavy lifting.
And
So what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing here? And you talking about you want however much money, but if it's in her contract, it's in her contract. It's ridiculous. But pay the artists, pay the writers who came up with it.
So do you think,
100%.
as it stands right now,
let me answer your
LeVar,
first question though. Before you ask him, let me answer your first question, which is I think she deserves a cut of the premiere access. She doesn't deserve anything to do with the streaming numbers.
No,
because you can't say that. Now go ahead.
Hold on. Let me ask you that question.
Once from the $30 that every time was paid once, then you get a cut of that. But you can't say for the entire time.
But here's the thing, though.
Let
me play devil's advocate here. You need the subscription in order to then be able to pay the $30. You can't be a geek outside the service, pay $30 and get access to it. So there is a thing to be said that says, yeah, you got a subscriber in order for them to watch the film, because without subscribing, you can't pay that extra $30.
Watching Black Widow, the fuck out of here.
But people were already subscribed for Star Wars and everything
for
else.
Mandalorian, for all of this.
But you know what? They can argue. An argument can be made. An argument can be made that literally, like, let's say a day or two before this film was officially released, we saw this uptick in viewership, even though historically within the same time frame, this is the type of viewership we usually see, or this is the type of subscribers numbers we see. All of a sudden, right before this movie, we saw 30%, 40%, an incremental larger number than has already existed. This is just an argument to be made. If they can establish that, which I wanted to bring this to you, Everborn, because we've had this similar conversation. Do you know what this sounds like? This sounds like multiplayer. This sounds like cross-platform play being allowed by PlayStation. They're doing exactly the same thing. Make you look in your books and give us the money back if we determine that you're not at the certain, the thing that nobody wants to do, but they're making you do it because, hey, we're PlayStation. We insist you do that. Same thing here. I don't
think it's the same thing here at all.
It is because at the end of the day, they are, and I don't agree. I'm not saying like 100% that she's right, but I honestly think it's an interesting argument to make, because it'd be one thing if you say, okay, all access is $30. You pay for it once, you get the film. You're not subscribed. You don't get access to anything else, just the film you paid for. If you say that, okay, she has no basis to speak on any subscriber money, because her money is directly influenced by the $30 people paid to watch her film. But since that subscriber, that $30 is behind the paywall, yes, I know it's murky. I know that people can sign up for so many other things. Just because I signed up the day that movie came out, maybe I signed up to go watch something else and I just happened to sign up serendipitously on that day. But because you can show that the numbers will increase based on what they're watching, there is an argument to be made there. I find it interesting where this will fall, because it could fall either way. It really could.
Okay, now, LeVar, what were you going to say? I have a retort to that, but LeVar, I know you were trying to get it.
You go ahead.
So I think no, you can't, because I can sign up. Yeah, I saw that was coming this weekend, but I was already planning to sign up. And if I stay signed up, it's all for all the other content.
Sure.
So when you sign up, you're signing up for a streaming service
for the entire library.
Thing.
I get that.
No one is signing up for a specific piece of content.
Sure, but like I said before, that can be dissuaded. That argument can easily be dashed by looking at historical information up until this point. You can say, okay, on average, for the past 6 months, we get this number of subscribers. Like me with my subscriber numbers on YouTube, I get an X amount of subscribers. All of a sudden, I got a bunch of people. I got Boom and the rest of them talking, and it went like boom, like that. If the lawyers can prove that, see this spike here, it's unlike any of the other spikes in your numbers, they got a case. And they can probably prove that. You know, you're right, 100%. People can log in for the whole library. No doubt about that. But
nobody's watching Black Widow every single day of the month.
Sure, I get that. But if Johansson's lawyers can prove that, see the day before this movie came out, see this spike, it's bigger than any spike before it, or it's bigger than any spike in the last 6 months, that is a valid argument.
I'm going to tell you why that's not a valid argument.
Okay, please do so.
You can buy Black Widow also, right? Like you get it there early.
No, you can't. You can't
buy Black Widow right now.
Well, that's now.
Look on Amazon and iTunes.
No, but that's now.
Right?
Like when this whole thing started, you couldn't buy it. You could only see it in the theaters, or you could, Disney Plus.
But again,
as long as you pay for Disney Plus,
right? Or you could buy it outside of there.
Well, yeah, but that was later.
Okay, so later, sure. But the point I'm making is,
because isn't she talking about, my movie didn't do as well and the numbers weren't great because of Disney Plus and da. So later is later.
Yeah, that's fine. But what I'm saying is,
they're like, we're glad we killed you.
When you sign up for any streaming service, no one would sign up for a streaming service if it only had one piece of content.
One movie, of course.
You are signing up for the amalgam of everything. So if that is this might have been the latest piece of content. But if you didn't think there was other content, you would not sign up.
I get that.
So it is with the expectation of everything they're offering, not just this. This thing serves as an advertisement, not necessarily.
Don't you think that even if that argument is taken seriously, and that is a valid argument, the subscription service by its very nature is a library, so that can be. But
what her lawyers are arguing, and we need to be clear about this, is that those new subscribers that they want to assume have signed up just for Black Widow, when they stay, she wants a piece of them going forward. She owns those forever as long as they stay signed up.
That's a bridge too far.
And they're not continuing to stay signed up because of Black Widow.
That part's a bridge too far. I would say the initial sign up, there's a conversation to be had about a percentage or something like that, because I've seen, you've seen this happen in the what do you call it, court cases and stuff. I hear you, and all the points y'all are making are 100% true. I stand with you, but I'm trying to think about it in a very kind of. Well, yeah, duh. I'm trying to think about it in a very kind of logical way where. How could this break
Star Wars,
for her?
Marvel.
It could break for her in a certain way where, all right, great, you're not getting in perpetuity moving forward. That's just not possible because a lot more artists are there adding more media to the environment. So if that's the case, we can't just willy-nilly give people all your money moving forward forever.
They can, because they do it in the music business, right? Based on how much each person watches, and they have a certain percentage that goes to the artists. And if you got this percentage of the streams, then you get this much of that money that we give out every month. But
see, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's not about Johansson and OG. I hear you, and you're absolutely right. This has nothing to do with her. Like, she may be done. This may be the end of her career. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's not about her. This is not about her. Her career
is fine. I think she has the biggest career outside of the MCU than almost anybody in the MCU aside from.
But I guess to me, Boseman. the reason why this is so interesting to me, and the reason why I actually appreciate that you added this back into the frame so much, is that it could change things moving forward for everyone. Screw Johansson for whatever reason she did.
Won't win because
but it doesn't matter.
It will send.
Yes,
they can't have that shit happen.
But they're going to settle out of court and give her whatever they want. It's easier. She's claiming she lost $50 million.
But that's what I've been said.
Yeah, it's easier to just give her $50 million and keep it moving.
They give her $100 million and tell her to shut up.
Yeah,
they're not going to give her even that much.
See, I think that's the thing. If they don't and she fights it, it could change the world drastically for them. And I mean Disney and all these others.
But the other problem is
if another lawyer, if you get the wrong judge or you get somebody who's like, "Yep, this is how it is," this could be a thing that bites them in the the Johansson case could have ramifications.
They can look at it and base it on what every other movie did, And if she's trying to say that because of whatever, it's a whole pandemic. There's no way she wins this. They're going to settle out of court, but
here's
no
the
way
thing.
she wins.
I think that this is like
her getting more money is a win, even if it's not whatever she asked for.
But hold on a minute. If they even settle out of court,
it's a win for
them. Like, I think that I don't even know that they want to do that, right? Yeah. Because basically they got to kill her and leave the body there so that anybody else who wants to think about this will.
They want to hang her from the rafters to show everybody else. This is what you get when you mess with us. If she gets anything, if there's anything.
What's good, Big Bad Mo? Thank you. He's getting ready to go back from the beginning. There was a lot of antics about James Gunn and Suicide Squad and how What If wasn't good. But we'll meet you back here in the separate timeline. But sorry, continue.
No, but I'm just saying in general, I agree with everybody's points. But if she gets even the smallest bite of the apple, oh boy, this is going to be open season for Disney and for WB and for Netflix and for anybody who even thinks about it. Because if she's even able to shake a little bit of the tree loose, all these other, you think this she's the first one to have this idea?
It's going to be
didn't I hear that the new Cruella movie? What's her name? She's thinking about the same thing.
Yeah,
she's right now. Same thing
with The Rock and this chick for
that's
Jungle
right.
Cruise.
Exactly.
But again, and by the way, TK Cole's bringing up Bob Chapek, saying they found ways to fairly compensate talent regardless of how. Of course, he would say that, but I gotta say, what a shit show! This shit never would have went down under Iger.
Nope.
Scarlett Johansson would have died in a car accident, and no one would have been the wiser if this was.
He would have sent flowers to the family. He was right boss. There. He was boss at the PR for sure. Chapek is a shit show. And he doesn't care. He's just out there. How do you
let this? Because he's trying to step his foot down. He feels like people are over looking him. Because come on. Bob Iger's on the board. We'll go talk to him. He's trying to set his foot down as this is my house now. And he got Kevin Feige mad over this shit.
Yeah.
He got the companies being sued to the point where it could cascade and go again. This guy is effing up big time. And he came from the Parks division, where he was notoriously cheap over there.
Anyway, everybody in the Parks division, all the people who love Parks are like, oh my God, Chapek is now the CEO of Disney. Oh, the company's over. I kept hearing that. We shall see.
Right. They had to get shamed into paying people $15 an hour after they were making all this. The parks make more money than the movies.
Oh, of course they do. Oh,
right.
Dude, I live in Florida. Remember? Yeah. The parks print money. They print friggin' money, even during the damn pandemic.
And they had to be shamed into paying people any sort of a living wage.
Any kind of living wage.
And that was while Bob Chapek was running the parks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be clear about that. But anyway, so we know
there's a reason why Iger put Chapek in place and then was like, peace out.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason. Yeah.
Because he wanted to put in a stooge after him that would run the company into the ground so he looks even better when he runs for president. But that is neither here nor there. That is really all I have. I brought this up because everybody that watches this show, if you watch it later after the fact, keep an eye on this case, because I promise you, remember where you heard it, this is going to change
the ramifications are going to be major
based on how it goes. So that's why I wanted to talk about that. But that is all I have. Mr. Johnson, why don't you tell the fine folks what you're going to be watching this coming week and where the people can find you?
My only plans is to watch the next episode of What If. Waiting for that. Waiting for this next update on the Avengers game so I can play that, the Black Panther update. But just waiting for What If.
By the way, he's still playing on a Series S. We got to get him a 1S.
Series S?
A 1S.
Series S? He's sitting pretty. What you talking about?
No. He's playing on a 1S. We got to get him a Series S.
We got to upgrade you, player. Come on now. We got to hook you up. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, maybe that's a birthday present. We'll see.
You can come take your brother's computer. He doesn't use it for games.
With my new job, I can get a discount.
Hold on. TK Cole says this never happened to Batman.
Oh, come on, man.
First of all, Batman.
We're about to go and you're triggering.
That's because Batman is Bob Chapek, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, you know,
he kind of is.
He is Bob Chapek. Yeah,
but now imagine Bob Chapek putting on hockey pants and beating up his park employees in the nighttime.
He is though. He's just beating them up with words.
He's not paying them enough to eat, so they got to turn to crime. So he goes and beats them up. So don't get me started on Batman. But anyway, Mr. K. Asante, what will you be watching this week? And tell the people where you can find you.
Yeah, I too will be anxiously awaiting the next episode of What If. I'm all in, as they say. As far as what else I'll be watching, I've actually I've been putting it off for a while, but I want to finish watching The Bodyguard. Have you seen that? It's a British TV show. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. It has Rob Stark.
It has one of the dudes from Rob Stark. Yes. And I've seen one or two episodes, and I was like, man, this is good. Yes, this is really good. I'm actually planning on finishing it this week. I'm thinking I'm gonna finally put it to bed. So eat my backlog a little bit. I appreciate you guys chopping it up with you guys. It's always fun to have good debates, agree, disagree, and all that.
I like to call it heated agreements. Even though
that's right. Yeah, this is fun. I always appreciate this. So this is great.
All right, so I am going to be finishing Demon Slayer this week and watching Mugen Train. I also need to finish that movie, The Vault, that I was telling you guys about. Mm-hmm. And with the lady, I'm going to watch. What is the name of this movie? Is anybody watching a video in the background? I feel like I'm getting background noise. But I can't remember the name of it. But it's some movie with Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Oh, I haven't seen anything regarding her coming out. Is it new?
No. It's
it's an older one that you're catching up. Okay, we'll check it out.
All right. Anyway, so that's
what about that Monster Hunter that we were recommended? I think that comes out.
Is that a movie or a show?
I think it's a movie.
If it's a movie, I'll watch it. If it's a show,
I went to go see it, and it just showed me a trailer, and I think it's a movie.
Okay.
It looked good. Like the trailer looked like, hey, I want to see this, but it was not. It wasn't available yet when I was there, but I'll see if I can watch it if I get a chance to.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, it's a Blake Lively movie. I'm going to tell you what it is right now.
A Blake Lively vehicle?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Age of Adeline. That's the thing. I'm going to watch that probably right after this show. Okay. With the missus. So
I look forward to hearing your opinions when you're
I'm probably not going to have an opinion, not on that one. But we need to have some real anime talk one of these days. You guys got to get up on game. And
give me some
Batman is not George Lucas, because George Lucas is married to a black woman, and Batman would never do that. But we're not going to talk about that.
Why would you say Batman would never do that?
Has he?
Just because he's had racist writers in the past doesn't mean he's a racist.
Okay.
They've changed hands a lot now.
Sure. Maybe he hasn't done it in his 80-year history. Never once.
There's a Batwoman TV show that's a black girl.
What does that have to do? He never slept with her, but he did sleep with Batgirl.
Yeah, that's true. So, never mind. I'm trying to devil's advocate. It's not working.
All right. So anyway, you can find me at Everborn Saga everywhere. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. But I'm very active on Twitter. Anyone who follows me, I follow them back. You can also find me, obviously, here on YouTube at Everborn Saga. And most importantly, everbornsaga.com, where you can get stuff like this amazing shirt that I'm wearing, or the Everborn cap, or that wall art that you see behind me. But most importantly, you can get the Everborn comics. So check that out if you can. And we are launching Prince of Arcadia Chapter 4 this month. I'm just finishing the final edits because I can't afford an editor. I need you guys to buy more comics so that I can do that. But check it out. We're releasing Prince of Arcadia Chapter 4 this month, and we'll be at Comic-Con in October. So everbornsaga.com, Everborn Saga in any place that matters. And that's it. We are out of here, and Batman still sucks.
Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys on Saturdays on the real. I was about to say the Gaming Circle podcast.
Gaming Circle podcast, where we're going to talk about how the Series S was a bad idea. Goodbye.